All right. Mm-mm. Appreciate everyone. Hello, everyone. It's Roy Youngling Jr. We'll get started in a few minutes. Get started. Mm-mm. What? Oh, whoa! This is man. This is breaking here. It's breaking news here. Wow, I never heard of that. Okay, yeah, this is interesting. Mm. But the police officer, Derek Chauvin, was charged with third-degree murder. Wow. Um. Mm, mm, mm. I'm going ahead and get into that. That's a little ridiculous though, right there. See and play some beats. All right. Well, y'all, Link Jr. here. So, like, Von, what up? Have you get on here too? This is an open panel for everyone. A lot to say out here, man. I hope everyone, stay safe, man. But put some suggestions out here what we need to do. I want everyone's thoughts, so yeah. All right, it's boy Only Junior here. We out here, brothers. It's yeah, Minneapolis look like hell, man. Like I said, Levon, come on here if you can, brother. If you have anything else to do, man, I just want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear other people's opinions. I'm gonna try to dissect this. So, what I heard is breaking news now that okay, so the officer Derek Chauvin, who was the one who put his knee on the back of his neck, restricting his airway. He was there for several minutes. You can easily hear the young man saying he can't breathe. He can't breathe. Please, do something. And the other four officers, they were just on standby, and they decided to not take any action and do anything. They were pretty much a bystander. They should get charged for second degree murder. I mean, all of this is whatever happened in Minneapolis is a plan. It's all in the plan for this an agenda, bro, to really continuously to give us so we can be divided. Okay, I truly believe that for us to be divided through race, division, all this stuff, racism, it's not gonna forever end, man. It's not gonna end, I don't think. And you see how executive order was signed, to restrict a lot of free speech from Twitter or just a lot of social media platforms. That's talking about the president. So they don't want us to have the media already. They don't want us to have the internet. Us going home, going places, having fun, talking, and conversating. That's all that's going to come to a stop. It really is. I mean, it's coming from the heart. I just feel like the direction of this country, it's not. It's not going to be good for a lot of people, man. Not even for our children or our grandchildren. I feel like unless until we hit them in their pockets. And I was, it was a proposal from a good friend of mine in the military. He was, and where you stationed at, he said what he's decided to do is sit up here and give like different phrases and establish a great mentorship for African Americans as far as like learning and unlearning. So it's a lot of lost history that we don't know. We have to identify ourselves. We identify where we stand here in America economically. So that meaning is that if you have anything going on with you, like it's some sort of addiction, alcohol abuse, drug abuse, anything that may impair you to actually be productive and be effective in society, you have to look at that first. We have to reevaluate that first. And these issues, that's extremely important. Going within first, investing in yourself, and therefore when you collectively get yourself together, you can put something on the table, economically and politically. And what I mean is that politically is that you can sit up here and be like, okay, well, this is what we need to do. We need to withdraw this, hit them in their pockets economically. I think a friend, he proposed that suing them economically, far as like suing their insurance companies, the police officer insurance companies. Because think about this too, if they're not going to have, that's going to be a liability. They're not going to have police officers on the streets if they can't provide medical insurance for them. We get an attorney general to set up here and do little things like that for us, then that's going to really help us in our corner. I feel like it's going to help us in the long run. And that's just something that we really have to really take in consideration. Hit them with that. They did burn down the precinct, third precinct. That's kind of interesting too, because that's where they work at. It's a certain district of the officers that work at that, and it's like over 18,000 police departments in America, man. And I think over 250 people been killed by cops so far in those 18,000 the police departments. So I'm not saying it's going to be like tens, thousands, or 15,000 people a day getting killed by the police. But I will sit up here and say is this, that suing the insurance companies, getting these claims, getting an attorney general to do this. If they have the president to sit up here and sign an executive order about this, or reverse the blue alert law that President Obama signed, then that's going to protect officers, especially with low level offenses, man, from getting indicted for abusing their authority. I think that he reversed that, then yes, maybe the riot will let up, because at the same time, we are not looked at as American citizens here. I mean, I was looking at one of Malcolm X quotes and everything. If you're not a diner, because you're at a dinner, man, you're not eating at dinner if you're just at the diner. You get what I'm saying? Like you don't have nothing on your plate. You're just there. So I just feel like in our place in America, are we considered American citizens? Are they slowly stripping our rights away from us, our freedom of speech? This is from an African American standpoint, because this has been going on since we got on the boat, man. I mean, we got off the boat here in Annapolis, in Maryland, all this stuff, man, the slave auction, slave trades. I mean, it reminds me like how the progression, we didn't really make too much progress with Emmett Till. And Emmett Till was Billy beaten. I watched a documentary on that, and it was crazy because say he had like a speech impediment, and they felt like he thought he was some white woman. They came in and they beat him. They took him out of his home. I mean, they beat him severely, took his tongue out. It was ridiculous, man. And it was so unbearable to see that the parents was like, no, we want the world to know what they have done to my child. And this is a statement, his performance of America and our political leaders. And so they just getting away with it. And I can't really get mad at these people that was looting in Minneapolis. I mean, it's looking like a third world country. I mean, they destroyed. Well, I'll say they destroyed. Well, they destroyed the Target. You know, they destroyed Target. They destroyed like so much property, man. And I want to read this here, man. This is some evidence here. I never heard of third degree murder. I never heard of that. I'm correct me if I'm wrong. If y'all say something in the chat, man. But yeah, hold on. Gosh, Eric Chauvin, officer. He was charged with third degree murder. All right, let's read this, man. Actually, I might. Let's see. Ain't no ass here. This is crazy here. It's looking pretty bad out there, though. This was last night. Damn. Wow. Mm. Okay. See, anybody trying to come in? Okay. So, fire a Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin has been charged with third degree murder and manslaughter in the death of George Floyd. Hennepin County Attorney Mike Freeman announced Friday afternoon. Agents with the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension arrested Chauvin, authorities said. Chauvin is the former police officer who was captured on video pressing his knee into George Floyd's neck on Monday. As Floyd repeatedly said, "I can't breathe." Can someone explain to me how's that third degree? I'm gonna look up third degree murder. I never heard of third degree murder. It's probably another petty sentence, man. That's first degree murder, bro. Less than in 4 days, Minnesota Public Safety Commissioner John Harrington said that's extraordinary. We had never charged a case in that time frame. Okay, so Tim Wall said in Emotional News Conference that unrest has destabilized Minneapolis and St. Paul this week is the result of generations of pain and anguish over racism and policing. You're right. Yeah, we understand that his strong called thugs while suggesting military intervention, that there could be additional violence if the chaos continue. When the looting starts, the shooting starts, glorifying the violence. You know, that was just kind of sad, though, in a way, though. I mean, third degree murder, man, I just, let me see what that is, bro. Because I never heard of that, but it's the unlawful killing of a human being when perpetrated without any design to affect death by a person engaged in a perpetration of or an attempt to perpetrate any felony other than 19 enumerated categories of felonies. Third degree murder. In definition of third degree murder differs from state to state. For example, may define third degree murder generally as the murder that does not meet the requirements of first or second degree murder, right? And it does not occur during the commission. So they're trying to say, oh, this is like voluntary manslaughter, or this is sort of like it's not as intentional. So it's just like a petty murder. In some states, it's the same as voluntary manslaughter, which is generally defined in 3 ways. Voluntary manslaughter can occur when a person kills another person in the heat of passion. Wow. I don't think, man. And see, this my thing is too. You think he was going to get a huge time? You know, is he going to get a lot of time due to him being convicted of third degree murder? Because that's my biggest thing. I don't know. I don't know. And that's huge. That's huge here. Murder without parole. I mean, third degree murder. You taking unlawful killing of a person with no excuse. It's murder is. You know, murder, man, under the common law, maybe course murder was the unlawful killing of a human being with malice or aforethought. Unlawful. Wow. Um, a killing that resulted from a deprived or extreme recklessness. Intentional murder, a killing that resulted from intent to seriously bodily harm. While they got fourth degree murders, murder committed by the clients during the commission of attempt or flight from certain felonies. Deprived heart, extreme recklessness. So they're trying to get from he was resisting arrest, so they had to do what they need to do in order to, like, had to take his life. Man, third degree murder of all things. Seriously? Wow. Mm. It's crazy, man. It's one of those things that, damn, bro. Like, are we gonna really, change as a country, bro? Because I'm looking at this, man. Just the third degree murder, first degree murder. I mean, it's. I'm very surprised that they charge him with third degree murder. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's something that we have to. I don't know, man. It's sad. It's sad. It really is. It's perpetrated without an effect on their death. And I don't know how much time. I think so Minnesota, so they got third degree murder solely as deprived heart murder. So an effect and death of any person. So only a few states have it. And Minnesota has the third degree murder. Florida has it. Okay. By perpetrating an act immediately dangerous to others and making a deprived mind without regard for human life. 1987, an additional drug-related provision without intent to cause death, approximately causing the death of a human being by directly or indirectly unlawfully selling, giving away, bartering, delivering, exchanging, disrupting, administering a controlled substance classified, was added to the definition of third-degree murder in 1987. So due to but they began to rise in 2010s. Yeah, some reports an increase in persecutions to the opioid epidemic in the United States. Minnesota law also defines the crime of third-degree murder of an unborn child. So that's abortion. With the same elements of deprived mind. We have a deprived mind, or you have a lack of intent to kill, distinguishing from first or second degree murder of an unborn child. Both third degree murder of an unborn child punished by maximum 25 years in prison. Oh wow, unborn child. Okay, they can be punishable up to 25, 6 years. Okay, unborn child is not. Sorry, it's not unborn. It's just more like just killed a bit. Okay. Perpetrating an act immediately dangerous to others with a deprived mind. Right, it's deprived heart murder. Wow, it's the type of murder where an individual acts with deprived indifference. The human life with such results in death. Okay, so basically, the third degree murder is known for an individual acts with deprived murder intent. Results in death. That he has a deprived mind, not especially intended to kill. So it's like lower sentence than first degree murder, which is more intentional. Second degree murder, it wasn't planned, but it happened. Deprived heart killings. So that's what it is. So Florida, Minnesota, New Mexico, and Pennsylvania, Wisconsin has it as well. They have. What's up? What's up, Levon? What's up, man?
Where's the social
So they end up,
distancing?
man. Hey, when you angry, upset about the system, bro, that goes out the window, brother. I'm serious, bro. Niggas got masks on and stuff, man. I'm reading.
We're in a pandemic still, bro.
But look. See, now I studied. See, this is why I'm a study more than law. You know how I am. I'm into politics. I'm very knowledgeable about it. But I never heard of third degree murder. I never heard of that. Have you heard of that, Levon?
Third degree murder?
No, I heard first and second degree, but not third degree murder.
I haven't heard that. I heard first and second.
Yeah, I know first means intentional. Second is like, okay, it happened, but it wasn't planned based on the circumstance. And I guess third degree is more deprived. Someone's in a deprived heart murder. Someone's in a deprived mind. It wasn't intent to kill, but that person, life.
So what do you think this is, first or second?
No, they charged him with third degree murder.
Oh.
So
no, I'm talking about from your point of view. Like, what do you think it is really?
Oh, I think it's first. Okay. Absolutely, because you wasn't taught to do that, and common sense is that. See, we're not trained, right? So I'm in the military, so we train. We was training to do like health things, medical stuff, and usually, we was trained to put pressure on the wound. Usually, it's like, so. For instance, if somebody gets shot in the leg, you get shot in your right leg. Okay, what I'm going to do is, I'm gonna put my knee on it so I can remain that pressure, and then I'm gonna put a tourniquet on it so it can kind of control the bleeding. So when I put my knee on people, like even when people put their knee on me on my leg, it hurts. It hurts extremely bad, and they don't even have to put like a whole bunch of pressure on it. It just hurt. Like they don't have to put all their weight on it. They can just put their knee on it. Like even a woman who puts their knee when we be trained, they put my knee, on my leg. It hurts. So can you imagine? Put you don't even have to be that strong. Somebody have that knee on you because it's sensitive, man. On your on the back of your head, man. Somebody, that pressure point there. Somebody put their knee on the back of your neck, bro. Yes, for several minutes, you're gonna start losing consciousness.
Yeah, I
9 minutes.
think it was intentional.
Yeah, and he do that, and he just sit there and did nothing about it. And then you had the other three officers that was just standing around not doing anything. Now we can't blame the crowd. People say the crowd should have pushed the officers out. I mean, they didn't want to risk their life of getting shot and killed.
I think that people were feared. That's
Yeah.
what I think.
Yeah, that's what it was. I mean, because they got weapons. I mean, I understand that. I see. I'm 50-50 with that. I don't know if like, okay, yeah, that they at fault, but it's crazy, bro. Like the abuse of authority, man, and I can't really feel sorry for the people in Minneapolis. I'm talking about who losing their businesses. I can't, because I mean, just look.
I wonder if people been burning businesses and don't realize that some of those could be black businesses.
Yeah, I understand that, but like I said, when you're angry and emotional, bro, all that stuff go out the window. Because you still feel like, okay, yeah, you got a black small business, but you still part of the system. So I know it ain't right, but they still like, okay, F you. You part of, who cares? I'm mad, I'm angry. We need something, because we did on peaceful protesting. We did like with Eric Gardner, we did with the Michael Brown.
You're doing a more Malcolm X type.
Yeah, and this is stuff what Malcolm X was saying, man. And it's getting crazy, and it's feel like, we're in the Twilight Zone going back into the 60s. Have we ever learned? So we repeating history. This is why history is so important, because we got to learn from what our ancestors has done, and so we can improve upon that. So racism still is going to be here. It's been here since the beginning. Native Americans dealt with it. We dealing with it. It's ridiculous, man. I just don't. Only thing I can do is do my part. Like you doing your part, we got to do our part as black men. Like, when you get into when you graduate from college, bro, and get into the tech field, you know what I'm saying. If you still got your YouTube channel, teach people how to get into IT. That's doing your part. Yeah. So you don't have to be. Everybody don't have to be a revolutionary and some Malcolm X type stuff. That would be nice. You don't have to do that, but everybody plays a part. So if you're a nerd, bro, if you're a dude who can't get no
I consider myself a nerd.
Yeah, if you're a nerd, you an incel, can't get no coochie or nothing, bro. Listen, bro, you still valuable in the black community, dog. I don't care.
Wait, who's commenting?
Carlene, there's new people here. He says none of the business burned down were black. Stop that nonsense. All right, so that's okay. So I don't want to type in any black businesses were burned down. Like, so. Look, bro.
I'm just saying, maybe it could have happened. That's all.
That's beside the point. I'm not trying to argue. So let's listen, brother. Okay, maybe you're right. I don't know. But look, we're looking at the same. We're looking at this. Let's move forward. And what as African Americans, what can we do to move forward? Looting obviously is not the answer. We understand that. I'm looking like, when I see that target, I'm looking like, okay, I like sharpening that target, though. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was like, damn, that target look.
What about black people talking to the police committee or whatever? How about that? Like the discussion of what we're going to do, stuff like that. Maybe we could get discussion going instead of doing chaos, like discussing it with the police department of Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Right. Yeah, I know. I knew that. Gray, they wasn't in the black part of the city. I know that. It's in the suburban area mainly. I'm not mistaken. But what's interesting enough too, we have blacks and whites there, and I think Minneapolis is more of a diverse culture.
It's a liberal. It's pretty.
Is liberal because you're from where you're from Wisconsin, right?
Yeah, I lived in Minnesota at one point.
Okay, okay, okay. So I was about to ask you, it's like interracial dating. That's like common over there.
Probably, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. So as an African American man, just looking at this stuff, I'm thinking. I'm thinking like, man, like, cause I was talking to my brother. He was saying, yeah, man, we need to educate ourselves about our history, which is important. Um, and once we get through that phase and stuff like that, man, we have to really invest our money and keep our money circulating in our communities.
I feel like this situation is gonna make us forget the COVID-19.
Yeah, I mean, but
Honestly,
yeah, COVID-19, that's a global issue. I understand that, but now people like, man, forget that, man. I mean, people probably got phone mice everywhere, man. They don't care. I mean, you breaking in, I say you breaking into like Target and stuff like that. You touching bacteria, substance, and everything. So it's pretty much like, okay, forget the social distancing. I mean, we want justice here, man. And I just really feel like, at this time, man, it's a very spiritual war that we're under against. It really is. It's very hard. It's very difficult, man. It's only gonna get way worse.
and it's only 2020, the start of a new decade.
Yeah,
Ain't that something right there?
yeah. I mean,
Coronavirus,
mm-hmm,
rotting chaos.
mm-hmm.
Who would have thought that this would all happen at the start of a decade and
Yeah,
start out
exactly.
this bad?
What's up, Gray?
About greetings, esteemed young lady.
What you say again?
Say greetings.
Greetings, brothers. I appreciate you on the channel, man. I'm not trying to. I mean, I know you don't know me or anything. I'm just trying to get my facts together and everything, bro. I know we all emotional and stuff. I just want to focus more because I hear what you're saying, but I still want us to focus more and gear towards solutions for African Americans, man. Because I feel like you're my brother. You know what I'm saying? I'm your brother, and yeah, we might have different political beliefs and stuff like that, but at the same time, we still in the same issue. So I'm gonna go around. So I'm gonna have Levon. I'm gonna have you start, and I'm gonna go into Gray. You want to have anything to add, Levon?
I don't. With what the situation?
The situation, yeah, that's what everyone have a
It
time.
made Minneapolis look like Devil's Land. It definitely made it look like that.
Indeed. Okay. So great. Because obviously what we're talking about. So, what's your whole idea about the situation, and what solutions that you think that blacks need to really focus on?
I actually think that what our brothers out in Minneapolis are doing is a good thing. I actually just left Minneapolis about an hour ago.
Okay.
We demanded on the immediate arrest of Chauvin and the other 4 officers. They arrested Chauvin.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted the other 3 officers to be charged with accessory to murder. The family is actually demanding that be charged in 1st degree, not a 3rd degree.
Mm-hmm.
And the city was fully prepared to burn the rest of the city down if he was not arrested.
True.
See, the thing about revolution is that it's 2 parts. There's one that has to remain above board, professional. The other part has to remain clandestine. If you're always peaceful, you'll never gain peace. See, this is the reason why you have police, which is a domestic military force. And if you look at the way that black people have been treated in this country, this is just another straw on the camel's back, on top of a heap of straws. So they're not just rioting because of George. No, they're not just rioting because of him. But it's because of the thousands and countless others who have not received justice.
True. I agree. I've been oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I remember when I was in the military, naval expedition, and these campaigns that would be ongoing in the way that they are. And you look at the black community, it's similar to the way these campaigns are executed abroad. Foreign policy and domestic policy are basically one and the same.
Mm-hmm.
How to control and destabilize foreign populations the same way that blacks are destabilized and controlled. And see, it would be nice. Me and the esteemed officer Charles Faulkner Jr. created the Great Faulkner Initiative. We want more black military. We want more black police officers. We want more black STEM professionals. We want more black tradesmen. We want more black teachers. See, we've never had that. And it's evidence we never had that because 86% of the teachers in the United States are white, 80% of them female, despite the fact that less than half of American students are white.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the changing demographics in the military, less than half of the military is now white.
Yeah, because I'm in the military as well. I can attest to that.
You see, and it started changing right around the time, back in the 90s when I initially joined, 98, 17, going there well before the global war on terror even kicked off. You've seen so many black folk in certain parts. I mean, you go to certain theaters of operation, you couldn't tell if it was, Chicago or the Navy.
Yeah.
Whenever I was coming in 17, it was a brother that took me under his wing,
Mm-hmm.
showed me the ropes.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I actually got stationed as an individual augmentee on the Horn of Africa, most of the people there were brothers. When I was in Djibouti base, there's majority brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Camp Lemonnier, about half of the base was brothers. NCOs ran the yard.
Yep.
And most of your NCO staff was what? Black. That's the pipeline.
So, okay. So you said more like, so I kind of agree with you on that. Like more just black professionals that kind of like that would help out a lot of things that's like the issues that we facing.
Well, that's a part of the economics of it all. So you can't run a revolution properly without the economics. The military understands this quite well, which is why the Department of Defense is always asking for bigger chunks of the GDP every fiscal year.
Mm-hmm.
They understand that quite well. U.S. Army has vowed to be the leader in STEM professionals.
That's true.
The next generation soldier is going to look more like a mix between your traditional, run and gun Army grunt and a specialized technician. That's your next generation soldier.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at all of the technology that is being employed against, American citizens in general, but specifically black people. I mean, these are technologies in which were developed in the military. And so who's going to have a closer ear to the ground so you can actually prevent these things before they pop off? We actually encourage people to go out into their own communities and get organized. And the things that they should be fighting for, things like more black police officers, more black firefighters. These are emergency responders. So that way, when you see a black man being accosted as a black police officer, that can actually be there, who can empathize with that man. You see, the reason why you see the things that are happening, Minnesota's police force is about 70% white. 7% white, about 3% black, about 10% Asian, or some other foreign national, because we only have about 270,000 black people here in the Twin Cities.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that because they was. What do you think too? Like, even though statistics were showing that we made like 12.7% of the population, um, you think that that kind of like raise that can kind of like affect, as far as like us getting to these professional careers, like just outweighing it. Because I'm thinking like we don't make the vast majority of the population in America too. Because I see like because I'm from Detroit, like I'll be seeing like we got a lot of black Detroit police officers, but you see like Asians and whites and policing your own communities.
I got some good people in Detroit, and
Yeah.
actually we have a lot of good people from Detroit that are here. The black part of Minneapolis is North Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
That's where a lot of brothers from Chicago, Gary, Indiana, Detroit, um, you know, the surrounding areas, Milwaukee. These are places that have cities that have sunken in debt, and so they come to a place like Minnesota. It's a bit slower, right? It's a bit slower. It's not as fast moving as a Detroit. It's not as fast moving as a Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever these things happen, typically what you would see is marching in the street. I have no intent of marching in any street, but I am not against rioting. And
Mm.
the one
Okay.
against rioting is because that is really the history of America. The history of America is one of resistance, opposition. Um, it is actually an American right to cause civil unrest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you look at the American Revolution, you'll never hear them call those men from the Boston Tea Party.
I was going to bring that up.
You see, they'll tell you the Hollywood history that they dumped the tea in the bay, but the one,
Down taxes.
by, by all intents and purposes, they would be considered looters, right?
Right.
I mean, the tea wasn't theirs to begin with, but see, that's the history of resistance and opposition in this country, and it's an American right, and I think that is kind of what every black man, woman, and child, and especially if you wear the uniform, I think that's one of the greatest prides of men in military service is that we fight and we sign up because we want to have those rights. We want our people to have those rights. It is our heritage.
Gray, you brought something up that hit me hard, man. Because I'm a young man, 26. I'm in the Air Force and everything, and and that was one of the reasons why I joined. I mean, of course, yeah, benefits and stuff like that. That's cool. But other than that, I really joined because I want to make an impact in the Black community because I have a passion for the legal system and law and stuff, and I want to get into that. Especially when I get out and everything, man. And
Air Force is a good place to learn it.
yeah, and that's what I want to do. That's why so slowly, of course, this COVID stuff, been kind of messing up my schooling, but I'm gonna get into it, man, because I only been in for a year. But yeah, man, like I really want to, I really want to. I don't know if I want to be an attorney if that's what God wants me to do, but I do have a passion for like, just standing up for the just, stand up for people that's innocent, man. I'm trying to do my part. That's what I want to do because I was, yeah.
When I was in Camp Lemonnier, there was a detachment of Green Berets there. Their motto was "Liber the oppressed,"
Mm-hmm.
free the oppressed.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and a lot of these brothers they come from like mobile infantry. They come from or they volunteer for the QRF or back then it was a FRF, the Fast Response Force.
Okay, quick response force.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of them they volunteer for these things, mobile infantry,
Right.
can deploy at a moment's notice, and that's basically why they volunteer. Because with black soldiers, and I can show you footage going from Vietnam. I can show you footage even from Operation Enduring Freedom. Black soldiers treating people with the sense of humanity. Because these people, despite the fact that we are part of the American system, the American military force, that doesn't mean that we have to be the attack dogs and just treat people like crap.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen many brothers, sisters. Hell, I've even seen the white boys that they'll go down opposing the system, military or not. Because whenever we sign up, we take the oath. to protect the Constitution against
True.
all enemies, foreign and domestic. And
Mm-hmm.
look at what happened to this brother, and you look at the history of what's happened to black people. These are nothing more than domestic terrorists that have encroached upon the constitutional rights of black people.
Mm. Yep. I agree. I agree. And see, and this is my thing, man. I look at now. I did do the research. Now there's about over 18,000 police departments in the United States. Okay, that's including like all the villages, the cities, the counties, and all that stuff. And I think they say over 250 people so far. I guess in this within the 2000 decade has been killed, slain from police officers, and most of them were non-white. And they was just, people was just bringing up this argument that, okay, well, white people get killed by white cops, but it's just not recorded, you know. But
But
and
that's
the
pure nonsense. Just by the simple fact is that we constantly run social experiments, and where we show that white cops are very resistant to killing white people.
Mhm.
They could be wielding guns. They could be opening fire. They could literally let off rounds. You see a black person, they are already getting out of the car with their weapons drawn, ready to kill, because they treat the black man like it's big buck hunting. That's really what it is. You see, this is why I'm not adverse to rioting. In fact, what I think that our brothers are doing here in Minneapolis is actually a good thing, because you look at how this system operates. It operates solely on money. So whenever you say business, oh, they're burning down businesses, that's good on them. You see, when you hit this system's pockets, that is whenever you see an impetus to change. I mean, you look at COVID-19. You've seen businesses crying to the government. Nobody ever said, stop asking the government for a handout the way they tell black folk, though, right?
Right, they benefit from that, from the stimulus and stuff. Yep, unemployment.
And so you're seeing these businesses crying to the government about not being able to operate,
Yep,
because people aren't shopping because they are social distancing and they're self-quarantining, right?
true, and lack of resources and money right now. Yeah.
We had a major department store, Sears. Um, uh, One of its main buildings in Minnesota actually closed down. It's actually about 15 miles west of me.
Mm.
It actually closed down over the COVID shutdown. Because
So, okay, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, that I heard in Michigan, AMC Star Theater is about to close down because they couldn't come up with the lease payments and stuff in Southfield. Yeah, a lot of businesses are suffering from it.
And so now, while you have the opportunity and you can strike while the iron's hot,
Mhm.
you can cause even more uh, damage. Not just more damage, but you can actually have your voices actually heard to a greater extent, because now you got to remember, these people are money driven. If it can't operate business, and see, mind you, the business is what's these local businesses. That's what's actually discriminating against you. That's because when you remember, when the police arrive somewhere, they are there to protect and serve businesses.
I think that's where it originally was created to serve and protect corporations.
I watched South Minneapolis brothers, um, people from actually all walks of life, foreign, national, white, Latino, whatever, and a whole heap of black folk. No weapons. The only weapons they had was those that they could pick up from the ground, or that which they already had in their hand. Drive a superior force that was more fully armed, better trained, uh, uh, vehicles and all. Drive them completely out of the community.
Mm.
And
Oh wow.
with no weapons.
No weapons. This is draw.
Now,
Whoa.
the fire bombs and the Molotov cocktails, uh, that came after, with the anxiety of you have the media on one hand, they're supposed to be covering this murderer, and they're trying to deflect to the protesters.
Mm.
And you look at Arredondo, who was the Minneapolis police chief. He's cooning it out right now because he's been walking on thin ice because he took this position after the Muhammad Noor situation.
Now, okay, if you don't mind me asking, what happened to the Muhammad Noor situation briefly, if you can explain it?
Muhammad Noor was called to a scene for a disturbance, and the disturbance was taking place in an alley, and
Okay.
it was an actual accident where the white woman did not. She was Australian, foreign national, did not announce herself or her presence, and she startled the cops, and she was shot and killed.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay.
She wasn't pinned to the ground.
Here we going now. So he only can say because in that specific. Okay, I get what you're saying now.
And he was Muhammad Noor was fired. So was the police chief was relieved of duty and replaced with Arredondo. And otherwise, because the previous police chief actually thought it was an accident. And yet, because Muhammad Noor, despite the fact that he's a Somali foreign national, and a Somali American on a pathway to permanent citizenship, they actually perceive him as black. They lump him in as black. He was immediately let go. He cannot get a job as a police officer in any other township, county, or city in Minnesota, let alone the upper Midwest. And see, that was immediate and swift. And the problem that the reason why you see the rioting happen is because we saw what happened with Muhammad Noor. We saw what happened with Philando Castile, all the resistance, the blue wall of silence. That gets tiring. That gets frustrating. And I don't expect a situation like this for people to tuck in their emotions. No, absolutely not.
See, I'm saying we're frustrated, man. Like I said, yeah. I mean, it's we can have the end. I was going to ask you this, man, but we can have the NAACP get involved, Black Lives Matter movement. I mean, even though they were kind of like funded by Democratic nationalists and all these things. But one of my brothers in the Air Force, he was just saying, we talked about this last night. I don't know if you agree with this, but he was saying like, we need to withdraw from our votes, meaning that don't vote at all or vote independently, or what I'm saying, like don't vote for Democrat or Republican. And have them forcefully come to us. But my dad was saying like, well, how they always get their votes through the electoral college and all this stuff, and they're gonna appoint whoever they want to appoint. But I was gonna ask, like, far as mayors and governors and city councilmen, do you think like withdrawing our votes would that be effective on a local level?
That would only be effective on a federal election, a national election, like a presidency, right? That's the only time that would matter. For state elections, no. As a matter of fact, if you're far more effective, this is why we created the Great Faulkner Initiative, because it's actually for state to state warfare. You look at the way the states operate; everything's decompartmentalized. That's why you have policy is different from say Minnesota to Wisconsin. You see a vastly different set of policies, modus of operation. Same with take a Florida and a Georgia, vastly different. Stand your ground law being one of the prime examples of that, where the stand your ground law in Florida, it only applies for whites.
Yeah, it does seem like that. Yep. You look at Trayvon Martin.
Yeah. And so state to state warfare, withdrawing your vote from state and local elections, no, that's not going to be effective. For a federal election, it absolutely would. The problem is that in order for that to matter, you have to have your state representation first. You have to have your state representation as your mayor, your governor, and your senators and congressmen. Those are actually your more important elections. Governor, mayor, senators, and
districts and stuff. Yeah, because I was arguing with a brother about that yesterday. He went on Facebook Live. I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinion because he was just basically saying that, well, why give into a system that's poison us every time? Like, you know, and I understand where he was coming from, but like I told him, like locally, like you stated, like it's a lot better, you know, because I feel like it's important to know who's in charge of our education department, you know, our judges in these civil cases. That those holds weight, man. You know, I mean, you know, you gotta understand who you.
Yeah. Especially for state governors, it is very important for governor elections, right? Because a governor is like a president of the state.
Yes. Yep.
You know, and if you look at the history of governors, 98% of the governors this is across the nation, have been white. Very few black governors have ever been elected. In fact, the history of blacks running for governor, they have used acts of terror, threats against their family, firebombing houses and business in order to drive black folk away from trying to even run from governor. And, you know, my home state of Alabama is a prime example of that. And so if it's good for the goose, it's certainly good for the gander. You know, they use the history of terror, you know, the 4 centuries of terror against you. Now you notice whenever you respond with that same energy, you see you get a vastly different response than a peaceful protest. Why you want peaceful protest? Because they still want the money to flow. The money, as far as revenue, pays for those police. It pays for your city council. That money pays for all of those things.
But see, you know, like I said, our taxpayers' money, you know, and this, like I think the frustration comes from too, like, you know, our taxpayers go to these, you know, bonuses to these police officers supposed to serve and protect our community. But when we see how they treat our black men, you know, it makes you angry. Like, really? You know, like, you know, it's like y'all supposed to, like I said, provide and protect. Y'all harassing and attacking for no apparent reason, for even low level offenses. It's like, I understand with the whole George Floyd situation. Yes, a force check is a felony. You can go to jail for like a year or so. I mean, it's go to the county, or you might be in holding for that. But
there was no force check. Basically, what happened? He wrote a check and it was slightly over his balance, and he tried it again. He was actually out of the store. But what happened was somebody had already called the police with the intent on trying to have him killed over, and he tried to say it was check forgery. No, it was a check forgery. He was already gone. He was out of the store.
Overdrive, misunderstand. Okay, so yeah, the grocery store clerk had it. See, and it's just
when he was accosted. When he was accosted, he was already on his way to getting some money. He was on his way to get money out of an ATM.
It's wow. It's crazy, man. Man, you know, and you know, just hearing about this, man, you know, it's very sad though, because, and you know, I know people saying this been going on since the beginning of time now. It's been recorded, but at the same time though, it's just like, you know, establishing our position, you know, as a black man in this country, man, it's very difficult. I mean, I understand we can control our narrative, control our household, and, you know, get into professional careers, but we can't, you know, eliminate the stigma they have against African Americans, I feel like. And yes, I know that all white people are not racist. I know that, but it's
every single one of them is a racist until they prove to you otherwise.
Yeah, it feels like that, man. I mean, so and Gray, I was up 4 a.m. You know, I'm off work and everything. I was up 4 a.m. on the panel, and we were discussing. I was discussing with my mentor about, you know, we was discussing segregation or integration was better for blacks. Some people argue integration was. Some people argue segregation was. And I was the one that was segregation. I was thinking, like, do you believe that, you know, segregation is important for blacks? Like, should we go back to that? And can we go back to segregation in this 21st century?
No, absolutely not. You're already intertwined. Segregation. See, the thing about it is you were already integrated. Slavery is integration. You were in these people's houses. You were on their properties. You're sleeping on their properties. You had access to their property and whatever, right? And their resources, right? Because you were the grower. You were the agricultural labor that produced the resources. So you already were integrated. What happened was during Reconstruction after the Civil War, what you had was forced segregation, and that was to deprive you of said resources. So that way you can own land. You go try to settle on some land. White man comes up, shoot you in the head, put your family under duress, and move you off the land forcefully.
Mm-hmm.
You see, they can't do that with the changing of the times. Now they do it through extrajudicial means, where they still do that. I mean, you look at what happened to George Floyd. That's exactly what happened. I mean, put down the man.
It's like Willie Lynch on letters.
Well, I wouldn't say Willie Lynch letters. I wouldn't go that far with put the man down and put the rest of the family under duress.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because now you're taking an economic pillar away from the family, and their ability to protect themselves is minimized.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Breaking down that family stronghold. Yeah, they used to do that, so like you said, to slaves to make an example out of them. Yeah, yeah, it's crazy, man. Because I just hate for that to happen to our people, man. I mean, I've been looking up like Malcolm X quotes. I've been looking at his ideologies. Like I got one of his books, and I'm looking at his interviews because he was talking about the same stuff here. That was going on in the '60s. And I just feel like the difference is just we got technology now. It's just another generation, dual generations of people, man, that still had that hatred. But my thing is too, Gray. It's like you will love our culture because you got so many people that love our culture, love our music, love our sports and them entertaining them. You know what I'm saying? But they still don't. What I'm saying? They still have an inner hatred within us. If you really hate someone that bad, you don't want. You don't want them to, entertain you, do all these, crazy stuff with you and stuff. You don't want to be embracing their culture. It's kind of funny to me, man, because I grew up in the suburbs and everything in the hood too. So I grew up in the suburbs, and I see like I'm not saying all white people. I see like some white people, man, dressing like sagging, the stereotypical black person, that type of stuff. Or listening to rap, I just find that funny, man. And then down the line, some of their family members are, hate black people. So it's just weird to me, man.
Well, yeah, I mean the world loves your culture. They love black culture, but not necessarily black people.
Yeah.
When you see, take for instance, foreign nationals, when they come here, they love to pretend to be black as long as it gives them a position, triple minority, especially if they're a foreign national female. Take a Latin female woman, Latin female immigrant. That's a triple minority.
Mm-hmm.
They love using the status, especially if they're from the continent of Africa. They love to come here. Again, an immigrant and a minority in every sense.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever it comes to black people, you see them have the same proclivities as the dominant society. They love to dogpile on black folk. And it's kind of a flying monkey type of syndrome where a flying monkey, in order to impress the greater narcissist, they will do any kind of acts of terror or evil against someone just to prove to the narcissist that they're down, and they'll up the ante on how much they'll do. And you look at take for instance the Hispanic community. That's exactly what you see in the Hispanic community. Now, they'll talk about, make America great again, but you'll never hear them talk about make Mexico great again, make Puerto Rico great again, make the Republic great again. These are places where they're from.
Right.
Why aren't you have so much energy to claim to make America great again? You haven't been in America that long to know it was great at one point. And
that's the question too. Like, yeah.
making it great again, when making it great again, which would actually mean that blacks would have a monopoly on labor. They would have a monopoly on agriculture. That's what made America great, when blacks had that monopoly.
Well, too, when we're building schools, too, the HBCUs, because I feel like, my uncle was a teacher, and he was saying that, the generation, after slavery was the best generation because they built so many schools. I mean, they were very, just very productive and persistent, man, even though, a lot of resources was taken away from them.
See, it's
And
impossible. See, with the segregation argument, it's impossible to remain segregated while your money is integrated. Because at some point in time, you still have to interface with white society. You still have to interface with immigrant society. At some point in time, somewhere in the chain, your money is going to leave the community into the dominant society.
Right. Hey, Gray, I'm aiming to cut you off, Gray. Hey, man, we got like 7 people in here, man. Y'all like the video, man. Get those likes up. Appreciate people coming in here. It's first time me talking to Gray. Appreciate the brother on here. Like I said, it's an open panel. I'm gonna have him here more on the channel. Y'all get those likes up, man. Share this video, get the likes up. All right, Gray. Continue what you were saying.
But yeah, like it's like this, like you're trying to have a segregation reconstruction that was forced segregation because you were already integrated. See, the laws were created to segregate, to keep you from resources, land, opportunities to build for yourself. And despite all of the fact that the laws were in place to prevent you from doing so, you still did so. But what happened was you had white mobs of terrorists come and burn these places down, right?
Black Wall Street,
like Black Wall Street, Durham, you name it. We've been there. I mean, there's thousands of them across the country during Reconstruction, because we did expand out, even though we stayed mostly in the South. So from
what's interesting though, I was reading The Color of Law, and it was, I didn't know this, like in Helena and I think Montana, the capital, it was a lot of African Americans there, and this goes in, it really, the book really highlights and went into detail about redlining, and it really made it very difficult for African Americans to move into suburban areas, because thing is, like, it was African Americans that had good careers, doctors, lawyers, that had the money, that had the credit, but racism, all that type of stuff. They didn't want them to have access to, like, to other races of people in different neighborhoods. And so I remember Chuck Hall, he was like the mayor at the time of Miami in the 60s. He actually destroyed a downtown Miami, an area where a lot of African Americans were, some neighborhoods, because of that, man. It was just a lot of things that African Americans went through during like these housing mechanisms, and this is how like these ghettos were created too.
Yeah, I mean, you look at who occupied the ghetto, and what they did was they cried to the government, and during the 30s, FDR's New Deal, these people were created. The middle class was created as a result of an extension of FDR's New Deal politics. All of these people, like really, there is nobody that has made themselves. There's nobody that has built anything. As a matter of fact, you look at American history in general. Are the only ones who have ever had to pull themselves up out of bootstraps, while everybody else was getting those government handouts that they tell black folks to stop asking for.
Yep.
Middle class, the entire middle class, white middle class, was created as a government welfare program.
Oh yeah, they was benefiting off of that too. Yeah, and like I said, I believe all this is like, always, good and known for painting the picture that African Americans are like, the worst at everything, man, which is, it's not true, But like I said, it's another form, like I said, white supremacy. I truly believe that, white supremacy and all that stuff, and just just the stuff we've seen in the media just to make them know that, hey, they're superior than us. and you keep seeing that over and over again, then yeah, your brain, you start getting desensitized and you start believing it. I mean, how they paint, white Jesus, all these type of stuff, just little things, man, that just really affected generations, bro. And that's why, in the first phases, my brother, he was just saying, we have to relearn, unlearn a lot of things and learn more about our culture and our lost history. Because I'm still learning, the things that we had overcame. But like I said, the only thing I can do, like I said, is just do my part. And I'm glad, I will say this too. I think it's more and more Black people are waking up, you know, and we just got to transfer our energy to something that's going to really, like I said, hit them in their pockets.
Yeah, I mean, this is an opportunity to bring a system to its knees. They're already hemorrhaging money due to COVID.
Mm-hmm.
This is having difficulty operating.
Mm-hmm.
Make them go in their pockets, and if that means destroying businesses, and there was no Black businesses that were destroyed. They weren't even in a Black part of the city. As a matter of fact, where that situation's taking place actually still sits on an existing racial covenant that was created back in the 20s.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, there's another place where Philando Castile got killed that sits on a racial covenant that existed since the 20s, Falcon Heights.
Falcon Heights. Okay.
The modus was keep Blacks out. That's why you can look at the city data. You can actually see that 90% of the people that have gotten tickets, pulled over, or arrested in Falcon Heights, just even if they're just passing through, they may live in St. Paul, they may live in Minneapolis, they may live in Uptown, but the vast majority of them that pass through Falcon Heights that have been arrested or gotten tickets going through there have been Black. Percent. That's not an accident. South Minneapolis, where they built Little Mogadishu, where you have a sizable population of Somali immigrants. Even the places where they live sits on a racial covenant. There were no Blacks even allowed. I mean, as a matter of fact, it's only been within the last 30 years Blacks are moving over there.
Mm-hmm.
And since Blacks move over there, what happens? They offset the population with who? An immigrant population. First it was the Hmong and the Vietnamese, and now it's the Somalians.
Somalians. Yeah, it is a lot of, because I was hearing there's a big Somalian population there. And I mean, I can say too, like I said, I like in downtown Detroit, a lot of gentrification going on too. A lot of the homes that were actually owned, from people in Detroit are actually a lot of people can't afford it. Like the property taxes are very expensive in Michigan, man. My cousin, he lost both houses because of property tax, and then those houses were paid off back in the 60s and 70s, man. This was like something that was passed on to a generation, and if the property tax, like you can't afford it, then
oh yeah, taxes is the single greatest robber of generational wealth.
It is. Yeah, and that's what I discovered. And I was just like, and it made me mad because I'm like, because it was. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Detroit is not the, I mean, it's some nice areas down there, but the house, it was nice. Like I think 3 bedrooms. They got like an attic. We had a downstairs basement. I mean, it was nice. And he had another home for like 3 bedrooms. Nice homes, man. And he lost a home and now living somewhere else. Like I think in an apartment or a hotel, man. It just makes you angry, man. Like damn. Like wow. Like who's making these laws, man? That's what it's just wow. But I remember my grandmother said, "Yo, owning land is like one of the most important things that you can do." But I'm looking like if you can't keep up the taxes, it's like, what's the point? Or the generation can't do it. So
we've been, and that's the other part of local politics. We've been missing the ball because there is no reason whatsoever why your property taxes should continue to go up, and you don't see the benefit of property tax. How that you have a place, and I actually talked about Detroit, where I've seen Black conservatives, so-called Black conservatives, really neoliberals and whiteface, blackface, say that refer to Detroit as a smoldering crater. It's like, when's the last time you've been to Detroit? There's no smoldering crater there. It was in the 60s and the 70s, but certainly not now. And you look at how you had majority black city. You had Detroit was a model of a black Mecca, where you had so many black homeowners and whatnot, and then industry leaves. Industry is exported to places like Mexico, and you see the entire city sunk in debt. This is a black city, and in order to make up the difference to the lack of industry, what does the city do? It gets it in its mind that the city staff salaries have to be maintained. And how do they maintain them? They raise taxes. Next thing you know, in 10 years after the industries leave, auto industry, steel milling, and the foundries and all of that leave, you see a nearly 500% increase in taxes, where a person would be paying $600 a year in property tax in 1960. You're seeing by 1970, you're seeing them paying $2,000-3,000 property tax a year.
Right. That's crazy.
That's in 1970, and then you fast forward to 2000. I mean, there's people that own houses that are under 2,000 square feet, paying $4,000 or $5,000 a year in property tax.
Well, I will say this in Detroit. The good thing I say about Detroit is that if you want to start real estate, that's one of the best places to do it. I will say that because, like, if you can buy a home little to nothing. I mean, yeah, you got to fix it up for the most part, but I mean, you can buy a home like 50 grand, 30 grand, and like, I'm in the military, so I might I can use my VA home loan. You know what I'm saying? If I want to get to the real estate market, use that, and then rent it out. Make sure it's so good.
Get out if you're getting your BAH.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen I know a couple of brothers, some in my home state, that have used their BAH. They buy a couple of properties to get the BAH and live off base, and they'll use their BAH to buy these little properties that are 2-3 bedrooms, about 1,500 square feet, and then they'll rent them out, and they'll be a turnkey business. Yeah,
that's what I want to do. Yeah. Yep.
We had some brothers down in Florida. They're a mix of Navy and Marine Corps veterans. They put their VA home loans all together, bought big ass apartment building that they live in, and then they rent out the excess rooms and apartments inside of the building.
See, so easy, so smart. Yeah. I think me joining the military is probably one of the best decisions I made in my life, honestly.
It is for a lot of young brothers. Access to benefits. These are things that no private company, no private corporation, no job, Walmart or McDonald's isn't going to give you the amount of access to resources and benefits and certainly jail. This is why the other day I did the Great American Trick Bag, the white man's military, that I keep hearing these fake ass pro-black spewing about. It's like you never hear them refer to jail as the white man's jail.
Right.
You never hear them refer to the money as the white man's money. You never hear them refer to the drugs as the white man's drugs, even though whenever they get sick, they go right over to the pharmacy. Some of them that enjoy to smoke their weed, they go right over to the white man's dispensary.
Yep.
It's like, so if black men don't have any business in the white man's military, you look at the participation rate of black women. Black women certainly think it's a good idea.
Oh yeah, many of them. Oh yeah, you're right about that.
The black women in the military have just caught up to the numbers of white women in the military.
What I like about black women is that, man, and that's funny. I'm glad you brought that up. Black women do support each other. I'll say that. Despite I might not agree with everything what they do, but they do support each other. I mean, it could be anything, literally anything.
When you look at the black community, black women are far more organized than black men.
Yes.
we've been trying to get black men organized in the city, and don't get me wrong, the brothers of the city have made us proud.
Yes.
You know, with this level of turnout, which actually gives me pause to know that you know, my organization DFTC St. Paul, we are not just doing this for nothing. That somebody has been listening, even if they don't show up to the weekend meetings. They're still out there, and they're doing what's necessary. You know. But when we try to get them organized just on regular before these things pop off, you know, it's like, man, I got better things to do, man. I got some pussy to get. I got this to buy. I got this. I'm waiting for the weed man to get here.
Yeah. We kind of just what is that? We losing our place, our vision. We get kind of sidetracked on a lot of things, and
Trying
you
to
know,
get before it closed, you know.
yeah.
They say, look, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to get us organized, start pulling our resources. Sure, you might not have the money, but you got the time. You go to the club every weekend, and COVID has put a block on that. Might as well come down and get your information, get some kind of purpose and drive from these meetings, so you know how to operate. You know, we put our own money up. You know, we don't get grants or 501c3, any kind of provisions from that. All of it is our own money. These are brothers that are just willing. You know, and we got quite a few military vets. We got a brother that was a former Ranger. You know, we got another brother that was Air Force, and you know. And we have some other brothers that I can't talk about because I don't want to incriminate anybody. But you know, that is really what it's about. And our focus and goal is on, if they're locking us out of property, well, we're going to put our money together. We're going to buy property slowly but surely. We'll have enough property to where we can house and feed at least some of our people. They might not be able to house and feed all of them, but if we could get some of them, you know. And we even, you know, we were just over in Minneapolis. We encouraged the brothers, if you have property, you know, and you see these young brothers out here, your young soldiers out here, raising hell, you know, protect them from the arm of the law. Let them, you know, at least offer them shelter in a safe place where they're not going to be accosted because they were suspicious on being at a protest. Like, no,
Right.
Open up your home. You know, let them in, protect them. That's how you put up your wall of shields around your brothers.
That's why you said something powerful there. Because my granddad, on my dad's side, he was he served in Vietnam. I think he was there for like 11 months though. But he do a lot of things for you know, for people, for veterans, you know, homeless vets in Louisiana and stuff. And he be doing programs. He ministered to them. He be going to like jails, minister to them, and also too making sure they get their health benefits. And also too, because when I look it up too, and I think statistically speaking, they said it's we got over like 68,000 homeless vets in America. It's crazy, you know.
68,000, about and about 25,000 of them are black.
And I'm like, you know, you serve this country, man. You know, we put through hell for this country. You know, I mean, it should be some incentive, like, okay, like let's help these people. Like, but I'm glad, like you and other people who seeing these things that's going on, that we take in charge and see, like, you know, I want, like I said, I'm because I'm just, I know my limits and everything, because some things that you're able to do I can't do, you know, because we have different talents. But like me, I want to hit, like, when I finish my military career, if I decide to do 20 or not, well, I want to go ahead and like I said, like run for the city council, run for a house district, you know, and go from there and make some changes. That's what I want to do.
What I would suggest is do what I do. Don't go for the position itself. Go for an advisory position. You don't want to be the mayor, but you do want to be a mayor's advisor. You don't want to be the governor. You want to be the governor's advisor. If you find some brothers that do have the mettle to be the governor, and they want to take the responsibility for the whole of society, including whites and immigrants, then that's who we push, you know, those positions. And furthermore, we have to stop looking at these problems as exclusively black. And the reason I'm saying that is because we've had black politicians, and sometimes you will get a better deal out of a white politician than a black one, because not all skin folk are kinfolk.
True. I'll take that varsity position. Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
You know, the mayor of St. Paul, he was a special advisor on education, childhood education, to the governor when Dayton was in office, and now he's the mayor of St. Paul.
Okay.
And as a result, you had magnet schools where black children excel the most in the magnet schools, at least here in the Twin Cities. Magnet schools got better. Competency rates of black children literally doubled while he was advisor. You know. And the reason why he want to be an advisor is because, look, he knows, he's been on the ground. He knows exactly what our schools need, our communities need. And so that actually prepared him to be mayor. You know, now he can allocate city funds to where they actually need to be, because he's already been on the ground. He was in the advisory position, and now he's the mayor.
Makes sense. Okay.
But right out of the gate, as a mayor or a governor or even a city council, it's just an advisory position. City council is actually good if you just want to get paid, because if you just want to get paid.
But you know, for me, Ray, it's really not more about the salary. I get what you're saying, though. It's more because of my heart for the people. But
then that's where you're probably going to be best suited, is in an advisory position. Believe it or not, governors, mayors, they actually listen to the advisory board. That's actually who makes a lot of decisions, the advisory board, not the actual governor themselves. They just go with whatever the advisory board kind of says.
Okay.
And as I look at the advisory board, is kind of like a cabinet for a president.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay, the little advisors. Okay. That makes perfect sense. Yeah. That's taking that into consideration. Yeah, man, because you know, it's funny, man. I really wasn't like this, man. It's just, I guess, you know, as I, you know, gotten older and everything, and what really inspired me too was like the 2016 presidential election and all that type of stuff. And I really started doing research. And I remember I took back then, I was like in middle school. I was in 8th grade at the time. I took a civics class, and I was just kind of hooked on, like, you know, policies, politics, and all that stuff, and history. So
how the world works.
Yeah, I was so interested. A lot of people in my class find it boring, but I was like, I don't know, I'm just interested in that type of stuff, man. You know,
people that find themselves interested in civics and end up becoming, you know, world leaders. You know, look at most of your world leaders; they all have degrees in sociology. Sociology is one of the social sciences that encompasses civics. Yeah, how to run a city, how to run a country, a population, what incentivizes and de-incentivizes certain behaviors in the population.
Yeah, because I was educating myself on how the bill works through like the Senate and the House of Representatives, you know, basic stuff. What is a veto, little stuff like that. Studying Gettysburg Address from Lincoln, you know, just little things like that, man. Checks and balances, all that, man. You know, and you know that stuff is important. You know, and now I'm trying to, like, you know, understand all the amendments as well, because I think the average American don't even know all the amendments. You know, what it stands for and when it was created.
Oh yeah.
You know, because that's here. Because I feel like we have we have a more understanding education on how America was built in our United States Constitution. Then I think, okay, as blacks, we probably move a little bit more differently. I feel like that's another solution as well.
Yeah, and I didn't actually mean any offense to to the other brother, but it's like, you know, I'm here, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not actually at you know, ground zero. I'm 20 miles east of ground zero.
Okay.
You know, and I got some good people over there, and you know, whether they're on a, you know, some clandestine activity or not going to incriminate them, but none of the businesses that were burned down were black.
Okay.
The reason why they when you got to remember, just like the LA riots, they tried to say that you know, you burned it down their own community, and you know, burning down your own businesses. Those weren't their own businesses. Matter of fact, what struck off the LA riots was a Korean store owner killing a little black girl.
So it wasn't the Rodney King.
Rodney King was just the tipping point, but it was already happening. Rodney King happened to, you know, as a result of the anxiety and angst that was pent up, that anger that was pent up from that little black girl getting killed by an Asian store owner. And what happened was the city of LA treated her like a model minority, gave her 500 hours of community service,
Mm.
gave her time served, so she didn't even spend any time actually in jail, but the time that she spent in the county, right,
Wow.
county lockup, and
Mm.
that's kind of what that was really what led up to the LA riots. Rodney King, the LA riots were already in process when Rodney King happened, and it was just another straw on the camel's back.
Mm. Mm-hmm. So do you feel like I feel like a lot of this is repeating itself now? A lot of our millennials are down there and stuff. Um, you know, real angry. And like I said, man, they have the right to be. You know, my only thing is I just don't want any other unnecessary casualties. You know, that's the, you know, what I'm saying while we displaying our frustrations.
Yeah, if you notice, LA riots, you could go and look up the footage. I mean, they were talking you know, from the helicopter footage, you could hear the helicopter pilot, the signals coming over the radio where they were telling police they have to stay out of LA. They, they were scared. Why were they scared? See, whenever they kill a black person and they say, "Oh, I feared for my life," no, you didn't fear for your life, because if you feared for your life, you would actually stay away from the thing that's causing you harm. LA riots, it was so ridiculous that they were scared to even go in there. They really feared for their life, and from what I see, the only time that black people are safe is when white society is scared.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so to use your anger and to arouse fear and retaliation, I say good on them. I salute them. You know, I look at every black person in America as a veteran. You know, a veteran of the longest ongoing unpublicized war on black people specifically.
Yeah, it is a war out here. But see, and this the thing is too, man. You know, as blacks too, man, and you know, I'm not trying to sound like a coon or anything, but you know, we do got to eliminate this black on black crime that happened too, as well, because it's already stuff against us, and you know, I know that's only a certain group of people, but we got to stop doing that too, man. You know, I mean, the same people that kind of like protest and get mad will probably be the same person.
Black on black crime is an effect of
Yeah.
white on white crime. It's an effect of poverty. Let me ask you this: what do you think will happen? Right? They say black on black crime, we got to stop it. When someone else controls your economic reality, you're a mouse in the experiment. I talked about this with brother George Macon,
Hmm.
the mouse utopia experiment. What they did, they put a bunch of mice in this huge um, uh, enclosure. Uh, Everything was provided for them: food, shelter, you know, little activities and shit like that. Um, and what happened was, whenever they were comfortable, the mice would rapidly populate, because everything's provided for them. It's a utopia.
Mm.
And then what would happen was the scientists would actually pull back on the resources, the food, the water. And then what happened? The mice would literally kill the other mice for access to those food resources, as they realize that the food is now scarce.
Mm. That's deep. Okay.
And so that's basically the black community. when we talk about black on black violence, that's how it's. See, that's the part of American subversion that we miss when we talk about black on black crime. And like we forget that our economic reality is completely controlled by another group, and it's willfully happening. It's intentionally happening.
Mm-hmm.
You see, they use the racism to keep you away from American institutions because they want you to have an adverse reaction to American institutions. See, they don't want you to be the police. They don't want you to be the military. That's why the white supremacists create that whole narrative. Black man has no place in the white man's military.
Yeah, we it up too. I mean, you even got like older black people. Some older black people saying, "Yeah, man, don't join the white men's army." Plus, you got these.
Yeah, I've been hearing stuff like that.
I remember somebody
fighting a white man's war. Stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna name his name though, but I know. He was like, man, I'm talking about joining the military this last year. He was like, man, you know who's in office? I'm like, yeah, it's Donald Trump. I know. He was like, but why you? I'm like, what's that have to do with me not, joining the army, joining the military? I got my own plan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, look at it. The only branch of the military that the president solely controls is the Marine Corps.
Okay.
He doesn't control the Navy. He doesn't control the Army. He doesn't control the Air Force. Hell, he doesn't even control the Coast Guard. That's under the Department of Homeland Security.
Forgot about Coast Guard. Yeah.
Now, when you talk about the National Guard, even though that's the Department of the Army, and that still requires an act of Congress to activate, even though those are localized militias.
Yeah, because I feel like the governor maybe have like a big issue. Yeah, but like domestic issues like this in Minneapolis, National Guard got to come in and be civil. National Guard can be a dangerous job, though.
The National Guard were called in during the LA riots. What happened when they were called in? They refused to kill citizens.
Yeah.
They're not going to turn our guns on the citizens. This is a civil unrest.
True.
A lot of intense been happening in 2020.
Yeah.
A lot of intense stuff, coronavirus, and now this.
And so, you're looking at a money-driven society, and businesses having a hard time operating. And you look at it, it's the businesses that are actually discriminating against people. It was the business itself, the business where George Floyd was actually killed. That was attacked, rightfully so, because mind you, again, he was already out of the store. He was already in his car. He was on his way to get some money. In fact, he was, from what I understand, he was checking the balance.
So his account was going to overdraw with his account. So basically, he had insufficient funds
while he was sitting in his car.
Yeah. And then on this picture, say he was intoxicated. I'm like, okay, well, he's sitting on the top of his car. He's not making a disturbance. He's not. It's just. It just really gets me angry, man. I'm just like, bro, like you had him down. And like I said, my father was a Detroit police officer for 10 years, and he was telling me, situations like this, respond and everything. He said, like, if an individual is resisting arrest, he said, I don't put my knee on my neck, on their neck. He said, I do put my knee on their shoulder blade and hurry up and get their other arm, and so I can arrest them so they can give up. Then I arrest them, I'll pick them up and take them to the squad car in the county. That's all they had to do. Even if he had his knee on his neck for like 30 seconds, that's still wrong. But I'm like, okay. And then he picked them up and took them back to the county. I'm like, okay, that's we've been okay. But come on now, that was just a little overboard for 9 minutes.
For 9 minutes.
That's way too long, man. And
for a peaceful protest, what I say is fuck a peaceful protest. George Floyd didn't die peacefully. Philando Castile didn't die peacefully. Tamir Rice didn't die peacefully. Fuck a peaceful protest. That's just bullshit that they're running on you because they want the money to keep it low.
Hell yeah, I'd be shit. If I wasn't in the military,
what would Martin Luther King would say about this?
Yeah, at this point, fuck Martin Luther King.
That's a good question, though. He like, hey man, we need to turn the other cheek. Like, I was just.
So it's Malcolm X, huh?
God. That's interesting, though. I think Martin Luther King probably be like, I'm very good. I don't know.
what happens, and I suspect that things have to get a whole lot worse before black folk realize just what kind of a pickle that they're in. When is enough going to be enough? I have to ask you, if you're a constitutional type person, what do your rights mean to you?
Mm-hmm.
What are your rights worth to you?
Man.
What is your life worth to you? What is a life worth to you?
Mm-hmm. It's just crazy though, because like great man, like I said, man, if I was in the military, yeah, I'll be in Minnesota, man, right? I'm like, forget it. Like, I'm mad too. I'm mad with y'all. So so I'm not judging those people that's down there. But do you think too, man? How can I say this? Do you think too, like, all this is going on, the lack of addressing the police brutality, especially during the Obama administration? I mean, we had former President Obama with us for 8 years. They really
Obama administration. We like to point to Obama administration, but we could go all the way back to Nixon.
Well, the reason why, yeah, I get what you're saying. I know it was already here, but I'm just, the William Joyce and that stuff. But I'm just saying, like, far as like
Johnson Kennedy, who was in office when the esteemed chairman Fred Hampton was killed.
Fred, oh yeah, was it Truman?
It was Kennedy.
Kennedy. Oh yeah, that's in the 60s. Yeah, my bad. I'm thinking something. Yeah, he was. Yeah, Fred Hampton. Yeah. I think did J. Edgar Hoover had something to do with that, because he was like working with the FBI. They running it to his apartment, killed him and his baby mother, I believe.
It was J. Edgar Hoover, who was micromanaging the Chicago Police Department. He wanted the Panthers out of there. He wanted them dead.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I seen some photos on that. Yeah, Fred Hampton was definitely a revolutionary. He was so young too. He was into he was basically into literacy. I think he's from Summit, Illinois, man. Nice area, and he had a chance to go to law school, but he didn't understand there was a lot of stuff going on here, and he just dedicated himself, helping kids. I remember too. He used to wake up 6 in the morning and educating children about history, the law, and stuff. Talking about how education is so important, and I look at that, man. I was just like, dang, man, that, and that's I kind of want to be like him, man. That's very inspiring, though. But it's sad that he lost his life, though, for exposing the truth,
And seeing, when the destruction in South Minneapolis started happening, you seen all of those the whites, Hispanics, foreign nationals. They came out. Why? Because they didn't want their shit destroyed, and what they were calling on was the police department to do the right thing. Why the fuck is he still not arrested? Why the fuck is he still not charged with murder?
That's what I'm saying. That's the thing, It's
and every time you see in the media, they were trying to deflect with the protest itself. See, that's a little trick that they've been trying to pull and make you focus on the protester and not the murderer that caused the situation, because you wouldn't have the situation if Lloyd wasn't killed.
Right. It ain't like we looting and doing stuff for no reason. Now, if we doing that because we just, for no reason, okay, all right, I can understand you can call them thugs or whatever, but I mean, no, I mean, this is ridiculous.
Who's the real thug? This is why
Donald Trump said that was a little extreme.
Yeah, he did. And I was.
You have a group of thugs with a badge who actually stood around while the black man was getting killed.
Cold blood.
I mean, just and then when I read the story at first, when I heard about it, I thought like, oh man, they shot and killed. I'm like, no, they didn't. This was brutal. I was like, whoa, I never heard this.
They slowly tortured him.
Yeah. Yep.
It was already dead before they put him on the stretcher.
And Greg, this, man, when we do T-truancy and stuff like that, man, you always, when someone gets shot in the leg or whatever, you want to put as much pressure as possible. Usually it was taught to put a knee on there and apply a tourniquet. So I know in training that hurts when somebody's knee is on you. Can you imagine on the back of your neck?
Yeah, it's just one of the softest parts on your body.
Yeah, it hurts. It's a lot of pressure points in the back of your neck, man. Even when people put their knee on my thigh, that hurts still. I can imagine like that. Come on, man.
Your neck is the most sensitive part on your body.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most sensitive part. When you get chills up your spine, where do they start? At your neck.
Yep. Spinal cord injury, all that type of stuff. Your neck. It's important because one slight movement, boom, you can lose your life.
When you see something horrifying, what do you immediately do? You grab your neck.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because it's instinctive to protect your what? Your neck.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The easiest way to, you know what I'm saying, kill someone, you slit in their neck. I mean, they got the, you know, a lot of arteries are there.
It only takes about 12 pounds of pressure per square inch to paralyze someone from sitting on their neck.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
12 pounds.
12 pounds of pressure. Wow. Yeah, it's really sad, man. So gonna see my dad pretty soon tomorrow about this. Discuss more about this because he is more of a minister and everything. He do a lot for the community, and like I said, he was a former cop, and he was saying like, yeah, it's a lot of corruption that goes on, man. You know, it's really sad, man. You know, I mean, it is. I believe like it's a war out here. You know, especially against black men in the black family. I believe, man. You know, it's really getting crazy out here, man. You know, and we just want some solutions out here. That's pretty much what this mainly is about. Because thing is, man, you look at, you know, happened to Ahmaud Arbery and all that stuff, man. It's just crazy, man. You know, anything, you know, we live in a country like this that will continuously they keep happening, and then they keep asking us, want our votes and all this type of stuff, though. But it's a sin like things are not moving in our favor as a whole.
Yeah, like me personally, I wouldn't have wanted the Minneapolis police to fire him. I want him to get fried while in uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's fired. He can skip town after this trial is over, and he can go to another state and get a job just because he has the experience. If he's fried in uniform, there is nowhere in the country he can work as a police officer.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Yeah, I mean, we can see if the other 3 officers gonna be charged, man. Yeah, that was just really sad though, because I woke up angry. I was like, man. At first, I didn't want to talk about it. I was like, man, let me go ahead and talk about this, but it's sad out here. Hey, Levon, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, man. I know you expressed your thoughts on it, bro. So, I mean, do you think at the state, things will gonna get better, or do you think it's gonna get way worse in your opinion, Levon?
What do you mean, like as far as
the blacks in police and law enforcement?
I think we should talk with the police department of Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
No, we've already did that, man. Like we've done inquiries. We've petitioned FBI. We've actually asked the DOJ to get involved. They've had a history. Minneapolis Police Department has actually had a history of that. As a matter of fact, I talked about this with the esteemed Just DeAndre. If you remember the incident where you had police officers decorating a Christmas tree with all of these what they deem racist symbols, right? Like hot Cheetos and grape sodas and
wow.
That was Minneapolis Police Department. We actually asked for an investigation into the Minneapolis Police Department back then. Actually, even there were several petitions to the internal affairs of Minneapolis Police Department. You hadn't heard a goddamn thing from them since. Actually, asked the DOJ to get involved to quell out racism in the Minneapolis Police Department, and they have sat on their hands. Now, all of a sudden, the city's getting burned down, and you got the FBI wanting to get involved. See, that is how you move people, because they don't respond. They don't think that fat meat is greasy until you put them in the frying pan. That is why riot is necessary. Yeah.
Oh yeah, my man said that. Yep, that's true. Yeah.
I sat over there and I was with some of the brothers from the motor club, and I watched them, man. It was truly a remarkable sight to see the plebes of Rome overturning the Senate the way they pushed the police out of that community. Okay? And they did it without even having any weapons in their hands. The only weapons that that you could perceive as a weapon was that they picked up off the ground or that which they were already holding in their hand.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where was all that I feared for my life? Where was all of that, all of that smoke and energy that they had, in Ferguson? See, because they knew they fucked up. And see, because the demands of the people had not been met, that is why you see the destruction that you see. You must be ready to respond in kind, in the manner in which people are being killed. You have to respond in kind. Otherwise, nothing's going to change. You see how quickly they responded when the city starts getting tore down?
Mm-hmm.
I like Detroit because Detroit has a history of about every 5 to 10 years, you see that city get burnt to the fucking ground.
Yeah.
Detroit,
it's Detroit look different now, man, because I haven't been there like since around my birthday last year, around Christmas time, and like I said, I already know like it's the neighborhoods. It's really not too much of development. It's more like downtown is. I go downtown, I look like dang, like there's some black people there, but it's mainly like whites, Indians. New businesses. There's a Google down there. I look like what the You go to neighborhoods still like vacant homes and stuff like that, man, and burnt down houses. I was just looking like, damn, man. There's some drastic changes going on.
Yeah.
That's a lot though. But yeah, economic foundation, that's extremely important though, because I think that's going to eliminate. I think Sub-Zero on YouTube, he was talking about that because he gets into real estate as well. He was saying like that's going to eliminate a lot of this gentrification stuff.
Let's be 100. They can't pay out all of those insurance claims.
Mm-hmm.
Enough businesses go down. Enough businesses get destroyed. Enough businesses getting looted.
True.
It's not going to cover every single one of those businesses, not unless they want to encourage another financial collapse, right?
Right.
And that's why they're trying to advocate that. Oh, we're not against people that want to protest peacefully. Oh, fuck that. George Floyd didn't die peacefully.
Sure didn't. That wasn't a peaceful arrest at all. So, oh my god, yeah.
Seems like everybody in the Black Republican Party, Democrat Party, like they all agree with this. This was wrong. Like that interested me a lot. Like, wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like both sides of the spectrum agree this was wrong. Like this was.
Notice they did all of that coon-splaining. You saw the Philando Castile. You saw all the coon-splaining. The Tamir Wright, you saw the coon-splaining.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You seen the other brother that got choked out in New York, Eric Gardner. They did all the coon-splaining. And here you have it clearly on video. See, the thing is they ain't got the Black Republicans ain't got no fucking choice. It is what it is. They ain't got no choice at this moment. What they are seeing is a change in the regime to such extent to where this regime does not need any coons.
It was dead center. You can see it. Not one of us.
Now you look how it was like 2 years ago when Candace Owens was on that on her Brexit shit that she stole from some folk here in Minneapolis.
Really?
The Brexit idea that came from my people over in Minneapolis.
Interesting.
And that was actually a call for black folk to make a run on the banks, to pull all of their money out of the banks. That's what Brexit initially started as. Black folk make a run on the banks, especially in places like North Minneapolis, where black folk are still being disenfranchised, where their property taxes are going up while their schools are going downhill as they rezone the city to push their property tax into the white community. See, if they rezone it, now your property tax isn't paying for the school your kids go to. No, it's going to pay for a school that your kids can't go to because of districting laws. But if they make your property a part of the district without giving you the property line where your school is cut out of it, but your property, right? Your property now is a part of the white community. So now your school is still a part of the old black community that they're rezoning.
Mm-hmm.
And so now your schools start to decline, and go downhill. And that's what's been happening in North Minneapolis. And that's where Blexit actually started. Now, you look at how these white folks have been giving Candace Owens hell. They didn't even want her around. Like, get the fuck out of here, nigger bitch.
She gotta have them talking points to get her audience in. I mean,
she's still running around with the coonsplaining narrative, right?
Nobody checked. Well, people are checking her. She still was just saying whatever she wanted to say. Because like I lost a lot of respect for her. Because I used to support her a little bit, but I lost a lot of respect for her when she was.
I didn't really care for her like that. Like, I've seen her stuff, and I was like,
yeah. Well, I've been seeing her tweeting and making videos about this Ahmaud Arbery case. I'm looking like she said this is not a racial thing. I'm like, what do you mean? And I was very angry with her about her statement.
It's not a racial thing, but the man and son, well, the father that assisted in murdering Arbery, not only was a former police officer, but had links to the case.
Right.
You telling me it's not racial?
Now, Greg, my thing is this. I'm from a runner's perspective, because I run a lot, from a runner's perspective, and even just working out, lifting weights. I don't like when people try to talk to me when I'm working out. I don't. Unless it's, unless it's from my commander or something very important. Other than that, leave me alone. I'm trying to get this workout and get it over with.
I would be like, what the sound? What the fuck?
Because you're right, and people gonna sit up here and say he should have stopped. Like, what do you mean he should have stopped? He was chased down. If you
didn't respond that, I would just kept running. To be honest,
exactly. It's a vehicle was coming behind him recording, and then it was a vehicle that was trying to slice him or whatever, and he tried to go around, and he so happened to come in contact with this gentleman who had a shotgun.
With Arbery is that it got to a point to where he couldn't run because he had to do something, because what you don't see in the video is that there were actually other people that were trying to block him in. There was another car that was filled up with their people on the other side where he was trying to cut through.
Yeah, and when I see these things, I'm looking like people are just so stupid, man. It's man, but it's so much going on. And that happened in the state I'm in, bro. I'm like, bro, like, this is really getting out of hand, man. If you was
trying to box him off, you telling me it's not racial? How did the motherfucker that was in the car? Because I thought it was because what it looks like is a dash cam, right? And
I think it's a dash cam. Yeah,
I think it was a dash cam, and I think that the dude that was recording, I think that he was an officer, and they haven't disclosed that yet. Mm-hmm. How did he know to pull up behind and start recording? Because he knew exactly what was about to happen.
Well, don't your parents teach you don't talk to strangers? So why would you want to respond to someone when you're running?
Right, let alone you don't know who this person is. Like, I'm trying to okay, if you're in my way, I'm gonna go around the way. I'll go around. What I'm saying, it's an obstacle. Leave me alone. That's why I look at it. Like, I don't got time to be stopping. Like, especially you trying to talk to me. You got guns. Of course, what I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to fight. Some people will freeze. Some people will run. People are different when they're in distress situations. So.
Well, he was at the point to where they were going to box him in, and he couldn't run no more, so he had to stand his ground and fight.
Yeah, because if he would have took a chance to count run, I think they would have shot him in the back. Either or. Even if he would have stopped, I don't know. I still think his life would have been in danger. So if he would have stopped, hypothetically speaking, if he just would have stopped and talked to him, like, it's stupid, So yeah, this they ran. I appreciate you guys' thoughts on it. Thank you, Gray. It's the first time talking to you. I know you a fan of Just DeAndre. You be on this channel.
Oh yeah, that's our esteemed brother.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was on his channel too. Well, I actually interviewed him because he in Japan. Shouts out to him, man. He cool, real cool. Um, yeah, that's good, man. Yeah, that's the first time you'll be on the channel. Appreciate you on here, man. I gotta get you more on here, man. I gotta go live a lot more often.
Gratitude for having me. And
Yeah, man.
and no hard feelings, Levon. Is it wasn't anything personal. It's just that I'm actually I just left Minneapolis whenever
Mm-hmm.
you know it was like I was just over there. COVID-19 couldn't do with some unarmed black folk who were well prepared, determined that they will not take this laying down. Did those businesses they closed down, um, which I think is a good thing because you got to hit them where the pockets at. Because a lot of those businesses, black man gets killed out in front of the store and they want to remain passive. They don't want to step on any toes because of the police and no. Okay, you want to remain quiet? We burn this motherfucker down too.
I'm glad they did that. I was like, shoot, like, whoo. I mean, hey, I can't feel sorry. You know?
The ninth precinct, ninth
Yeah.
precinct is in shambles.
Yeah. Now I was very surprised. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, these are some different type of writers. I'm like, I don't know.
Oh, thank you for correcting me, Gray. Thank you.
Yeah.
See, because that's the one thing about how black folk are treated, right? We're already treated poorly. You go into a business and you get followed around because there's a stigma that follows you as if you're just going to steal something, right? And these businesses that are in these communities, and mind you, Lloyd doesn't live over there. He goes and patronizes the business. That
Makes sense.
business.
Yeah.
See, so then I have to ask, like, what is your freedom? What is your rights? What is your life really worth to you? And then we have to bring other people into the fight because okay, you don't want to speak out. Okay, we're just gonna burn your ass down because you just had a thing where you had these Asians claiming that they were being discriminated against because Trump called the damn COVID-19 the Chinese or the Asian virus, right? Like, okay, and you sat there, this Asian dude sits there while a black man is getting killed, actually tried to stop another black man from stopping the cop from killing him. And so we don't want to hear that bullshit about you being discriminated against. Whenever you start dying because of your Asian,
Then
you
we'll talk.
then we can have a conversation.
Deep. Yeah.
But if you won't fight for ours, and you won't fucking do what's right, you're a business. This business fucking had a black man killed in front of it by a police officer that your business called on him. Nah, we burning that motherfucker down. Because if you won't do what's right, nah, you don't get to remain on the sidelines and be apathetic. No, you're going to be brought into this fight. You're going to be forced into a position. You're going to be forced into a no-win position. And if you're going to remain silent, and that's why you've seen all of those whites, those Hispanics, and even some Asians was out there.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like shit. We ain't going to be the next motherfuckers getting burnt out of here.
It was like, yeah, I'm down for the cause. What I got to do? We got, we got a place for you. Like,
the edict was put out. The edict was put out 3 days ago. We'll burn down the mayor's house. We'll burn down the mayor's mansion.
Now that's gonna be okay. Now great. Now that's getting. I was like, people talk, okay, that's crossing the damn line. I'm like, hey, I mean, if it,
what you seen yesterday was Megan Ray. You know what? Yeah, I'm calling on the state's attorney to prosecute to the full letter of the law. You're gonna do what's right, or you're gonna get burnt out of this motherfucker. See, that's the way you gotta employ clandestine operations. No fucks given. They didn't give a fuck. They still trying to deflect in the media. They didn't give a fuck whenever that brother had had his life snuffed out. I mean, what you watched was a snuff video. They didn't give a fuck then. Okay, you didn't give a fuck then. Okay, we're gonna make you give a fuck. Now the city got to come down.
Yeah, I mean, it's time for war. I mean, you can't, like I said, you want respect, man. Like I said, you can't be passive, dismissive to the enemy.
Respect or get burned.
You gotta fight back. You gotta fight back the enemy. You gotta fight back because they're gonna
Give
keep.
me some respect or get burned.
It's like a bully though, Gray. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you keep it's only a matter of time when they're gonna explode and bully gonna get fucked up. You know. Yeah, I mean, we keep time at again. We kept doing peaceful. We kept saying we want peace, we want justice. Stop doing this. We keep patronizing y'all. We want to be, yeah, we got fucked up shit in our own communities too. But listen, man, like, come on, bro. Like, we should have some rights in the Constitution as well. And it's just like at this point, we getting tired. We getting fed up. You know, it's not cool. We shouldn't be worrying about this in this damn country.
Racism should be over at this point.
Yeah, you would think.
What happened was after civil rights, black folk took a fucking nap. That's what happened.
Oh yeah,
they had arrived and they didn't prepare this generation. That's why this generation is unprepared, and that's why we react the way that we react, because we were left unprepared. Because post civil rights, the older black folk, like, we made it. Like, no, the fuck we didn't. We still got to fight because there's still shit that we need that we don't have. There's still policies that need to be implemented that has not been implemented. We still haven't enforced the 1964 Civil Rights Act.
Yeah. I mean, because think about it too. Now, I'm glad you brought this up. Like when Nixon, that's when it started running Reagan about those the drugs, and then we got Bill Clinton and Joseph Biden when he signed up the crime bill. I put a lot of black men on in jail for charges. So that destroyed,
because the older black generation fucking went to sleep at the wheel. It was the older black generation went to sleep at the wheel. All they wanted was peace. They want their individuality, their individual careers. They want to break into media and music and sports and all this other goofy shit, and they forgot that there was a fight still to be won.
Now, Greg, what
happened was it left a lot of those brothers in the 80s and the 90s, and especially in the 90s, victim to that crime bill.
Yeah, well, let me say this too, Gray and Levon, like, for real, like, now, I don't know if this is true or not, but it's just been like, our attention span is not as good, because maybe say this keep going on maybe 2 or 3 weeks, sports is coming back up. So they're like, NBA playoffs coming up. Do you think, people gonna like, all right, forget all about this and start gravitating towards entertainment and sports? And now we're like, damn, like, what about the justice? So, do you think like sports and entertainment has like a really
we completely slept on law, we completely slept on medicine, we completely slept on trade, we completely slept on education, and then as a result, this is what you are looking at, the result. We haven't even been able to catch back up until the late 90s, early 2000s. That's whenever you see black folk getting refocused more towards education, more towards trade, more towards that, and finding ourselves all but locked out because of what? Because while we were asleep at the wheel, what happened was there were 7 immigration policies, like the Indochina Refugee Assistance Act, the South American or Latin American Aid and Assistance Act for refugees. And what a refugee is so ambiguous. All they had to do was claim that they were running from a prosecution or not prosecution, but from persecution in their own country, and they could get amnesty right here in the United States. And not only that, but could get a pathway to citizenship just by doing what? Joining the military. You see, so we went to sleep after 1964. And after 1964, that little critical mass that was formed was snuffed out with the death of Fred Hampton, with the assassination of Fred Hampton. And then you get that was 1969. And you fast forward that to 1971, America leaves the gold standard, the same year where the war on drugs and mass incarceration begins during the midst of a Vietnam War.
Yeah. Well, then too, yeah, that's true, that's true. And then I mean, you know, the feminist movement, all that stuff, Lyndon Johnson, all this type of the stuff that kind of really destroyed the black community in a way. Put a lot of men out of the household type stuff. You know, put our women with basically just false notions like they can take care of family without a man's proof, you know, without a man's presence, and single mother pandemic. It's a lot of stuff, man, that you know that trickled on down that kind of destroyed us in so many ways, to the point that we're like third class citizens, parasites of black men in America. I don't know, man. Maybe this is like growing phases, you know, because I don't know if like the next generation, Generation Z, or you know, are my grandchildren, if I have them, you know what I'm saying, are they going to, you know, still experience racism? I don't know. It's
Anything can happen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what reality is. You have to respond to force with force. You know, you seen George Floyd's fiance said that they're talking about you can't fight fire with fire. Says who?
See, the thing is, though, see, in her perspective, she never been through this before. Like, you know what I'm saying?
In her perspective, and I'm just
Yeah.
going to keep it 100 with you. From her perspective, she's a white female. She's only known peace.
Yeah, that exactly. Yeah, true. That's true. Yeah, that's
Why doesn't she want people to riot? Well, she benefits from society. So if businesses burn down, her position is becomes fragile as a white woman in American society.
mm-hmm.
See, even if the white woman is sleeping with you, procreating with you, she doesn't just stop being for white people. She's completely for her people, which is why she doesn't want people to be rioting, burning things down. But why? Because her position as a protected white female is fragile whenever that happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. You know, I really feel like as black men, you know, and that's what I think. I feel like this technology and stuff, you know, we're able to definitely come together and stuff. One point in time, we couldn't do that. You know, I would like to have like some meetings. I know people on Facebook signing petitions and stuff like that. I mean, you know, whatever is effective or not, I mean, it's something. At least somebody's doing something, you know, and that's a start. And I was telling people, like, you know, remember later on I was saying, like, you know, if you ain't got nothing going for yourself, you feel like you're incompetent, man, look, man, you can, if you're black, African American, or even if you're not, man, you feel like this shit is wrong, you go ahead and, you know, do what you can. You know, like I said, some positions, should be like John the Baptist out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, spread the truth to the people, man. Get on camera, cam up, do something.
You look at this, like, you had a lot of rising coals, like those that come out of like the red, you know, the red pill community, and SYSBM and IPMOR, and they're sitting there, they're talking about the woman, black women are the main enemy, and then you just see a black man getting killed right in front of you with a white man on his neck, and it's not even symbolic.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and they thought they could lock arms with these white men because of their hatred for black women.
No,
even though this white man does have a disgust for black women and women in general, which is why he made the beauty standard of America that of a prepubescent boy. But make no mistake, he could be fucking a black woman and still he hates you more as a black man. Why? Because you're a competing group of males. He has to compete with you, and he knows that he's genetically inferior.
You know,
that everything that you do that he does, you surpass him in. You excel beyond his station.
That's true, because you know, when I was reading, I didn't know this too. I looked at like corporations get tax benefits from hiring women. in general. So when I see like as like I said, as black men, yeah, they do get intimidated, by our confidence, how we carry ourselves and stuff like that. They're like, damn, he coming to my establishment, he might one day take over. So, and I feel like when we go to the HR department, that's why you see mainly a lot of women, in working in corporations.
80% of all HR
Yeah.
consists of white women. The reason why your black ass can't get a job is more than likely a white woman. Your resume, your application likely came across a white woman's desk. She put that shit in the trash because it had a black sounding name.
But it's crazy. But damn, I gotta put some I gotta put some echoes on that. But like but great. But see, the thing is, they can be not qualified for the damn job and still get it over you, even if you qualify for it. And I think too, this is like comes from a lot of frustration from men, especially black men in general. And this is why I was thinking about this too. Shouts out to Sean James. He wrote this book called The Man Crisis. I read it. It was pretty good. It's $5.99. It's worth it. So, and he was just basically talking about the feminist movement, all this type of stuff, man, and everything. How it's like you got women that's the head of the human resources department hiring other women, and 9 times out of 10 they probably not even down for the job. And plus, if they see a man that's have alpha male characteristics, they, like I said, they gonna feel inferior. They're gonna feel like, damn, I can't really use this man to move up.
They put it in perspective, right? So, white women, they're the most protected in the society, right? When you look at if you look at racism, white supremacy, whatever you want to call it, the white ethno state, they are the biggest beneficiaries of that arrangement, right? And so, understand, she can be sleeping with a black man, but working in HR and put every black man's resume that comes across the desk in the trash. Because her goal is to fill the space up with women and white males, right? Or non-threatening, unassuming non-white males, which means you're gay black man, you're asexually looking Asian male.
Right? That's what I'm saying. They get like a beta male, or they know that's going to be simping for them,
or your dainty, effeminate, your dainty, effeminate looking Hispanic male.
Yeah, that's true.
That's not going to threaten the status quo. And she could be sleeping with a black man at home.
Happens. Yeah.
You see, she's the most protected in the society. That's why 80% of the HR jobs, they are ran by white women. No black ass ain't got a job because white women are running HR.
You see, and this is why we bring this up, because that's why I was saying, like, as black men, this is all we have. Yes, what I'm saying, we have different abilities and gifts and talents and intellect, but we still we can bring something to the table. That's all we got. Have meetings with each other, help each other, like, and it's just really saddens me, like, when I had a friend, Mr. Stables, man, he died in 2018, January 1st. I'll never forget. And he was a rapper. He was on his way up, coming up, about to sign a deal, and got killed. Got killed outside the studio, man, by another black man. And I'm just thinking, like, you see, yeah, man, I went to the funeral. There was a lot of people at the funeral, man. It was just sad. A lot of people crying and stuff. It was just messed up.
And why did he get killed by that black man? We'll go to the Mouse Utopia experiment. Because now that it looks like that brother is moving up, he's getting his resources together, he's looking successful, and that breeds a sense of envy. And someone who doesn't have it, he's willing to take his head off because he has it and I don't. But both people are inside of the Mouse Utopia. And that's literally the source of black on black violence. It's really white orchestrated intercultural conflict. Somebody else controls your economic reality, and then it looks like this brother over here. Hey, why is one mouse to another? Why is he getting more resources? Well, early bird gets the fucking worm. In case you didn't get the memo.
Exactly. But I'm looking like, what do you gain from killing somebody that has more resources. You would think like, okay, well, let me at least talk to this individual. How can I get educated from this individual? And I just wish we, like you said, I wish we could really turn into that mindset, man. But yeah, I think I will say that I will agree. Majority of the killings has been, yeah, due to lack of resources. People, I remember, how it is like growing up in the hood. I remember my grandma, she'd be saying, when we got like packages and stuff like that, or flat screen TVs, make sure, yeah, don't put it in the front, go to the side,
What would you do? And I always go back to the potato experiment, right? And potatoes are the only food in the world, and you see this dude over here stockpiling the potatoes, right?
Yeah.
And you out here trying to grow the potatoes, but you can't grow them because, well, all of the damn runoff, and your potatoes aren't getting enough runoff. They're going over to the other guy who's stockpiling. And then you're like, hey man, help me out with some of those potatoes, man. Like, I'll do anything. I'll work for you for those potatoes. Oh man, fuck you. I'm going to enjoy my potatoes. Going to make French fries. Fuck you, dude. What do you think? Look, that brings us. Look, I'm envious of that guy with a lot of potatoes. I'm about to go take his shit.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get this potato. I've been trying to grow this potato, and it's not getting enough water because I'm just in a poor geographical area. The environment ain't right.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Where he's in the right environment. He's growing these potatoes and he's stockpiling these motherfuckers, and he's a selfish little bitch.
Right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I understand some create some hatred. Like, well, I want that. Like, what the hell? Like,
need that sense of envy, and that's basically what's happening with black on black violence. That's why you see these young brothers. They see the brother out here driving his BMW, and it's got the 22-inch rims on it. He's looking. He's styling and profiling, looking fly. Like, hold on. Remember the Life Jennings song? And they teasing me with these 23s and these DVDs, and they ride pass me by. And they have the nerve to wonder why I be robbing these niggas. See that song? That is black on black violence right there. That is how it is incentivized.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, this is what I go back to military operations, the pacification of Yemen. That's exactly what happened. Some people got resources. Some people were intentionally deprived of resources. Why? Because there was a specific group that we want to prop up.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
And what it did was it incited those that were deprived of resources. They didn't attack the U.S. military that was causing the division. No, they attacked the people that were getting the resources from the U.S. military.
Mm-hmm.
And they were attacking their own people. It's the same thing that's happening right now in the black community with black on black violence. It's white orchestrated intercultural conflict.
Mm-hmm.
It's the mouse utopia.
It's crazy. Well, yeah, just after doing various research, and like Levon, I recommend you to read The Color of Law, man. That's a good book.
I read it on myself.
What did you say?
I said I recommend you to read The Color of Law. It talks about how the ghettos were formed and what African Americans that went through. It talks about the Federal Housing Acts and all these things, man.
Yeah. I would also suggest, because I have Rothstein's book,
Mm-hmm.
I would also suggest the Black History Reader by Claude Anderson, and from the war on poverty to the war on drugs. That's another good book to read. That's going to tell you how everything was destabilized. And if you want context, there's a college book. It's called the Oxford Handbook of the Economics of Poverty. That book is probably the most in-depth.
You said it was from Oxford?
Yeah, it's the Oxford Handbook of the Economics of Poverty.
Elite school too. I'm gonna write that down. I might order that. Okay.
Well, the Oxford Library is actually the collegiate standard.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because they up there. They better than they up there with Harvard. Or they probably surpass Harvard.
Well, they are the school that Harvard is modeled on.
Okay. Damn, yeah, because I'm like, you get into Oxford, man. That's that real elite. Okay.
So the Oxford Handbook of the Economics of Poverty, that's a good one. That's a college book. From the War on Poverty to the War on Drugs, that's another good book. And then Dr. Claude Anderson's Black History Reader, 1001 Questions You Never Thought to Ask. That's another one. That's another good one.
Okay. Poverty. I wonder if I can get that online. Actually, I wonder if because I got iBooks. Let's see if they got that on there.
As a matter of fact, it's probably better that you use Scribd over the Apple iBooks. Apple iBooks. The Apple does not keep a complete library. They actually focus more on like bestsellers. They're not really into more intricate things like that. They're really big on the bestsellers, not so much on little pieces of literature like that. So Scribd, Scribd.com, SCRIBB.
SCRIBB.
Yeah, Scribd.com.
Okay.
They're probably more likely to have all of those.
Okay. And I can get it offline from there. Okay.
Do you consider yourself a conservative at this point, young Link?
Man, at this point, man, especially the way this COVID stuff and how I'm very disappointed how politicians been really been very taking a beta approach on this and they just really showing their true colors. I consider myself independent.
Okay.
Yeah, and I know. I might get some flack from that, but the reason I like say that because I was a huge conservative fan, man, for like a long time.
Yeah,
I'm independent, man.
It's kind of a thing, right? Because I know you probably picked it up from military culture because the military itself is a very conservative culture.
Yes, it is.
It is serving.
Yeah, it is. It very much is.
Because I was actually a conservative for a while. I was considered black conservative, black Republican, the heritage. And I was like, wait. I'm seeing the conservative rhetoric almost like aligning with Democratic rhetoric, right? I used to read all of the Thomas Sowell books. I was actually a big fan of Thomas Sowell. One of my favorite books by Thomas Sowell, Race and Economics, 1973. And then what I had learned was that his position drastically changed, and he basically became a neoliberal, which is basically a libertarian, right?
Yeah.
After he joined the Hoover Institute out at Stanford. Because his position drastically changed. This is why you have two revisions of Race and Economics. One from 1973, one from 1981.
Yeah. What about you, Levon? What's your political affiliation? He was like, I'm a liberal, dog.
Probably in the center, in the middle, like leaning a little bit in the right, but center right, I guess.
So a neoliberal. I mean, that's basically what I am, is a neoliberal. And what a neoliberal is basically a moderate, which we call you don't wholly buy into the Democratic mantra, and you don't wholly buy into the Republican mantra. Try to take what you can from either party, because
I support some things on both sides. I do.
For a minute, man, I'm gonna vote for the damn Green Party. I'm like that. This.
As far as this election goes, I don't see the point of voting for either. To be honest with you, because I mean, what is Joe Biden doing? What is Donald Trump doing? Like, what are they really doing? They're just there.
Yeah. It's a neoliberal, even though I do have more of a leanings of Despotism, not nepotism, because I do think that we do need to deprivatize industry, but I also think that you should punish people like bankers that cause these economic collapses. So I am for authoritarianism, despotism, but
Yeah,
I also have some liberal leaning views and some conservative leaning views.
exactly. Like same thing for me. Like when I'm more a big advocate for free college, free healthcare, that stuff. Like democratic approaches. I'm really for that. And because I know like 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, and that's a huge issue, man.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
you know what I'm saying, and like I
For it,
can't.
but it's more like how they're gonna execute it. That's my
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, and that's the thing, and I can't.
Free college.
Right, and I can't like turn a blind eye on that. I'm like, it's still people out here suffering. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to help those that are less fortunate, like the homeless vets and all these things. And I do advocate
And
for
the
like
reason why you're having this, the reason why you're having this, is because most of your industries are privatized, right? Now,
yeah,
uh, they made socialism into like a taboo word, right? Like, oh, don't say he's a socialist. They say it as a pejorative to kind of shut you up. But you look at the world. The world is actually a socialist world, right? You look at places like Norway, Germany, Sweden, France. These are all socialist nations.
hmm
Why is it such a bad word? Oh, that's why. Because the corporations that operate here in America, they can't operate the way that they operate here in America in a place like France, in a place like Germany, because France is not going to let them have control of their food or drug administration, right? So they're real. And if you know about a lot of these countries, they're very particular about what goes in their food. They're not going to let anybody that is from the corporation sit on the board who manages those food stores, right? But see, here in America, and what happens is that because they can't operate that way in most other European nations, let alone most other nations, right? But they'll get that way here in America, and so because they can get away with it here in America, that's where they push all the propaganda. Like socialism is bad. No, socialism is good for the
Well,
people.
let me ask you this, Greg. So, and I know, and we get into politics stuff, which is cool too, because so I'm passionate about. So, I'm not trying to offend anyone, but you can have your guys' opinion. But I was a big supporter of Bernie Sanders, and I know Bernie Sanders doesn't advocate. I don't think he really advocated for reparations, which is a whole nother discussion. But that's why I said, people are like, why are you supporting? But I just felt like his heart is generally for the people. Maybe I could be wrong, but I don't know what's your personal opinion on that.
I say it would have been a good match. Bernie Sanders, I could see it. Socialist versus Donald Trump.
Well,
I could see that being a good matchup, but we have Joe Biden, which is basically kind of the same thing as Donald Trump.
Well, we'll tell you this about Bernie Sanders is not actually a socialist, but Bernie Sanders, uh, he's a political prostitute.
Okay. Like he said a lot of, he said a lot of good stuff. Like, okay, how you gonna execute it, brother? Higher taxes to the rich. I'm like, Goldman Sachs, all that.
If you look at Bernie Sanders' policies, the things that he's talking about, you got to keep in mind that he would be also talking about increasing the taxes.
Yeah.
So, a political prostitute. But you don't see him talk about free education with the deprivatization of education, complete deprivatization of healthcare. No, he wants the people that have been running the show in healthcare to maintain the reins. No, you got to deprivatize it. See, this is how America passed the buck in the 20s. They started that whole everything has to be privatized. See, that way, if America is privatized, they don't have to enforce anti-discrimination laws.
Mm.
How did the corporations get around adhering to the anti-discrimination laws? Privatizing industry.
Privatized industries.
See, because even though the federal government says you cannot discriminate based on these things. And we're going to get around that because in the private industry, I have the right to refuse service or refuse employment or even refuse anything to you just because I said so.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can make up an excuse post haste about why I did so. That's the luxury of being a private corporation. But see, if you look at the socialist societies that are successful, things like Norway, France, Germany, China, South Korea, they keep a tight lock on what? The government controls the energy. There will be no privatization of energy. There will be no privatization of water. There will be no privatization of healthcare. There will be no privatization of transportation. See, this is why you see in Germany, in Europe in general, has the most connected railway system. Every time that you pay a toll, it goes directly to the state. It's the state's revenue. It's not the private corporation's revenue who says, okay, I don't think you paid a ticket because you threw away your transfer after you got on because you were going one way, and then they have the Gestapo come on and say, oh, where's your ticket? Oh, I threw it away. I'm only going one way. Oh, no, get off. Because when you look at the way that police are actually operating, they're operating like corporate thugs.
Yep, it's in uniform. That's what I feel like. It just hearing about our brothers and sisters, man, getting killed, I'm just like, dude, like, damn, I want to do something though. But like, I'm gonna control what I can control.
China has actually one of the. If you go to China, if you have an energy bill, it's the lowest energy bills per capita in the world exist in China. Why? Because it's all revenue for the state. That's why they can keep the energy costs low. They're not gouging you for prices. They're not manufacturing shortages. They're not throttling your energy the way that corporations do. Communications completely deprivatized in China, which is why they have the most connected as far as communications devices. Most connected. People don't even pull out cash anymore. Go there, swipe the phone.
Yep. Yep.
How do you think that happens? Authoritarian nation, completely deprivatized industry, especially when it comes to communication. There is no throttling. Why? Because every time that they spend something off their phone, a portion of that taxes, it gets deducted right out. It doesn't go to the company and then the company pays that taxes. No. It comes right out of the phone and it goes directly to the state.
That other thing is a lot different here. Yeah. It's just different, man.
Yeah, this decade is going to be interesting. These next couple of years are going to be very interesting for Black America. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I'll say this: it has to get a whole lot worse because if you want to see a real change, it's gonna have to get a whole lot worse before it gets better. It always has to come like a very serious tragedy, and George Floyd is just one straw on the camel's back amongst many others before it gets to a point to where Black folk have to say, you know what, enough is a fucking enough.
It's starting to get to that point, but I wonder how long we gonna keep this fuel. You know what I'm saying? This firing, because like I said, sports is about to come up, NFL season about to come up. Our Super Bowl and all that shit. So, and I love sports. Don't get me wrong, I love the NFL. I watch that shit all the time. But it's just like, are we gonna have that? Distract us from what really is going on out here. You know what I'm saying? Like a repeated cycle of not getting shit done.
I mean, that's what it all is. I mean, it's a pacification tool. To keep you lulled to sleep. I mean, if you saw the NBA draft earlier this year, right? What you actually saw was a lot of black kids getting drafted, and the world celebrated.
Yeah.
Well, especially in the United States, celebrated, especially black folks celebrated. It had more viewership for the NBA. It was the highest watched draft in
Are you talking about the NFL?
the NBA.
Oh, NBA. Okay, because I ain't watched. Okay.
The highest watched NBA draft in the history of the NBA was 2020's end of 2019 NBA draft. That was the highest watched ever. Why? You see more black boys getting drafted than ever. Well, why they do that? Why to pacify your black asses?
Well, to making it, because you felt like, okay, yeah, they made it in society. They made their dreams come true. So I mean, I kind of understand that from that standpoint, but
no, I get it.
Yeah.
So it's a proud moment for any of the players and their parents.
Oh yeah.
At the same time, you gotta look at what they're actually using it for. Why did this NBA draft have more public scrutiny and attention than any other? I mean, they had more press than when Kobe Bryant or fucking James got drafted.
Yeah. It's more interesting though, but like I'm with you too, man. It's just I mean, like I told you, man. Like I said, finish your schooling, bro. Like shit, and like I said, educate children about everything, man. About what you learn, and like I said, education and teaching is the best thing. Like how we are conversating here, that this is.
You use Linux, Young Link? Have you used Linux before? Have you used Linux?
Linux, no.
Yeah, it's an operating system. That's what I learned from IT.
Man, I don't know. I like looking at a UI interface, a user interface. I don't really like putting code. So yeah, stay away from Linux. You don't like looking at code.
Same here.
Do you know how to code, Levon? Like you're not use like Python coding?
I know what you're talking about, but I never used it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm more of a Windows person myself, to be honest.
Yeah,
I'd rather use a graphical interface instead of, typing a command to get where I need to go. I'd rather just click on it, honestly. That's just me.
I feel you. I mean, I like Windows too.
But that's one of the things that I learned from my major is Linux.
Okay. I'm going to get into that. I mean, is Linux difficult, or is it something that you got to take time to learn?
It can take some time.
Okay.
Especially learning the commands, what it functions, and stuff like that.
Okay. That sounds good, man.
It's been a pleasure. Sitting with you, brothers. But I actually got some stuff to do.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, man. I didn't know it was gonna be this long, but yeah, man. I appreciate the passion, Gray. I don't know if you subscribe to my channel. I appreciate if you do, man. I'm happy more on here when we have these talks.
I actually got the link from Dre and Jay Shine.
Oh, they share. Oh, they shout out to them. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no doubt that I'm subscribed now. Like what you got going on over here. You will see me sharing it in the future. Keep up the good work, bro.
All right, thank you, man. Appreciate you stopping by. Thank you, brother.
All right.
Yep. All right, Levon. I appreciate you too, man, brother. If you have anything else to say, I appreciate you on here. Takes a lot.
Just hope things can get better for America.
Oh yeah, man. Hey, I ain't gonna lie, man. When you was making your videos, because you made like 1,600 videos. You was so damn consistent, man. And I just want to say thank you. because you're consistent. I'm starting to be consistent because I'm looking like, damn, Levon, like I'm like, do Levon ever get tired? Like he just keep making videos every day. Like I remember one time I told you I was in my bedroom and I was just scrolling, just kept scrolling. I was finding videos 3, 4, 5, and I kept scrolling for at least an hour. That's how many videos you made.
It's weekly now. It's weekly now.
Oh, weekly? Okay,
I do videos weekly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I look at like, okay, yeah, it's because of schooling and a bunch of other stuff going on.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Yeah, man, I like your videos when you talk about. I know you're starting into gaming. I know Last of Us 2 is coming out real soon. You're probably gonna talk about that.
No, PS5 is gonna get announced June 4th. Like they plan on talking about it.
Okay.
On June 4th. Yeah.
Okay.
PS5 is gonna get revealed, you know, the games and stuff like that. Maybe even the price might be revealed.
Yeah, I heard it's supposed to come out.
I think it's gonna be $500, honestly.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's let's save up for that. I kind of want that. I want a PS5.
But yeah, we're in some interesting times in America. Very interesting times.
Yeah, we are. But yeah, man, this is interesting thing, man. Oh boy, and I told myself I don't know how long I'm gonna do YouTube because I was thinking about, man, I was just gonna start making prank videos, man, because this news and talking about politics, it can get so much strain, man. It can really mess your mood up. It's just sad.
Have you put ads in your videos?
How you see? That's the thing. Like, I'm trying to figure that out, bro. Because I know I'm trying to get my watch time hours up so I can get super chat. Like, how do you do that though? Trying to monetize it. Because when I try to do it, they like you don't get enough watch time hours. Like, you have like what 4,000 watch time hours.
How much? Okay, so go to your analytics.
Mm-hmm.
And then you pretty much go to overview. And then when you see, last 28th day, then you click down and then you pick which one. You pick either 2019 or 2020. I picked 2020 and I have made about, 842.6 hours. And that's as of 2020. So that's how you check your analytics, stuff like that, your watch time and all that stuff. So
yeah,
check and see what you got last year. Like, what was your watch time?
Last year, I'll check that out. Hold on, I'm in the podcast real quick. Hold on, we do it backstage. But I appreciate everyone for on this. Thank you for everybody, man. Like I said, if you guys want to interview, just like, comment, subscribe, man. Email me, man. Message me on Facebook, or you can comment in this video, man. It'll be uploaded by tomorrow, I believe. So these are suggestions. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Love you guys. Take care.